What's up, everyone? We got Nikki in the house. And
Hello.
Joe's. I was gonna
Hello.
come up with Joe's Shake Shack. That's Joe in the house. I was looking for a nickname. It didn't work out very well, and then I just
Nah.
embarrassed myself, Joe. That's okay. I do that from time to time. So tonight we're going to be discussing the movie Castaway and talking about loneliness, which I feel like suits it pretty well. Um, I'll catch up with the chat and then we'll go ahead and dive into it. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing
Pretty
good.
good.
That's good. That's good. All right, we've got Marie in the chat saying, "Hi, everyone. The regulars have a great time listening in the other room, supporting." Well, hello, Marie.
Hello, Marie.
Hello.
Oh, who's here? It's going to be Allie every week.
Hi, Allie.
Allie and Anthony, if Anthony's
Hey,
here.
Allie.
We got
What's up,
Joe in the
Allie?
chat. Joe's in the chat. He's here.
Hey,
He's
Joe.
here. We hey Joe. Yeah, hey Joe.
Hey, Alex.
Movie Hunter, Mama Blu-ray is in the
Hey,
house.
Bonnie. Tony.
Tony from Basement Blues. And
Tony.
Becca says, "Hi,
Hey,
everyone."
Becca.
Kiddos, say hi, Bob. Okay. All right. Well, tell the kiddos I said hi. I can't find my notes. I had notes for this movie. I do have questions written down. I was looking for, I swear I took notes. I know I did, but I just don't know where that notebook is. Anyways, I still kind of know what I want to say. So we'll just kind of discuss some stuff about Castaway and then we'll, have a banter. I rewatched this recently, obviously, a couple weeks ago, and I completely forgot about the beginning. And you know what? One of the things that I maybe never caught about this movie was because I always forget about the beginning, is the whole entire beginning scene. It's that woman's house that they end up going to at the end that he ends up going to by the end of the movie, that package that
The
he
the
hmm
the the lady in the barn making the wings. Yeah.
Yeah.
which I'm assuming is her because it was her truck at the end, so it had to be her. And I'm assuming that's the whole idea, but it's kind of a little sad that you know that ending, but we'll get to that. I just like the way it kind of ties in and everything like that. We get a little glimpse into UPS life and all the post office and shipping and stuff like that, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, I mean the movie starts pretty fast. It starts pretty quick. As far as him ending up on that island.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're in the John, and then all of a sudden the door gets ripped off, and next thing you know, there you are. I
Mm,
mean, and that was, I mean, it seemed like it dragged out for just a few minutes while the scene was happening, but then you're like, wow, that was just instant. Your life
yeah.
is different just like that.
Mhm.
hmm
Yeah. It it's a powerful one. I know some of the notes I took were like Wilson, as Allie said right here. Wilson. We got Tony in the chat saying good evening, folks. What's up, Tony? Thanks for being here.
Tony.
Holland note saying hi to Movie Hunter. What's up, Holland? Um, the scene with Wilson when he kind of throws it, I get that. Like, even though it's a volleyball and everything, he's on his own. He's on this island. He's got nothing else. So he finds himself like having conversations with the volleyball almost. And I mean, I have conversations with myself literally out loud. I don't have a volleyball that I have conversations with, but I think if you're on an island, you got to figure something out to like as if you have company out there.
Well, and I kind of felt like he was holding it together for the longest time. He was just really concentrating until Wilson came along. And then he started having the "you're looking at me" breakdown,
Yeah.
And
hmm
you could tell like it was on him that now he had something, a connection. So, yeah, I don't know, being alone that long.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
I can't remember how long was he on that island.
4 years.
Yeah.
4 years. That's right.
You know what I'm realizing just from talking right now? We're 5 minutes into the stream, and one of the biggest things, and I didn't catch this while I was watching the movie, and I'm going to forget my train of thought here, is he, this is the craziest thing, and I don't know if other people caught this or if I'm just an idiot, but what I'm realizing as talking to you guys right now, thinking about the movie, is that he felt more alone when he got off the island than he did on the island. It almost
That's
makes
it.
feel that way. The way he, even when his friends are around, like everybody shows up for him when he gets home and everything like that. But he feels like it doesn't show you that he feels comfortable or
Well,
anything like
no, because they
that.
told him
Grabs-
if you listen to his buddy when his buddy's telling him, well, we buried you. When someone looks you in your face and says you're dead to us, how do you come back from that emotionally?
You know, and I know it doesn't elaborate on this, and maybe you guys can kind of chime in here. I felt like, and maybe this wasn't the point, maybe it's something I'm overthinking, but people only show up when they want something or need something from you. A lot of people. And I felt like all
Mhm.
those people, like you said, like almost like you're dead to them. You all forgot about me, but now you're here because there's a bunch of food and a party. Like,
Right.
are you just gonna forget about me the next day? Like, do I matter to any of you? Do I actually matter, or are you just here because you heard I'm alive after 4 years? Like, did those people actually matter to him? Did they matter to him? Did he matter to them? You know what I mean? Like, I do wonder that, like how sometimes people just come out of the woodwork all of a sudden, you know.
Excuse me.
Well, I feel, when somebody's gone that long and because the plane crashed and everything, after a while of not finding the body, you have to find some kind of closure to move on with your life. And after 4 years, you pretty, most people even after a year would have pretty much gave up the search and everything to try to find that person be- because you still have to move on with your life. You can't wait forever and just stick around thinking maybe he's still alive because we never found the body.
See, I completely agree with you because I think she says it at the end of the movie, like we investigated this and did this and we checked here and you were at this island, but then you ended up here, and it's like it. At what point, no matter how much you love someone, no matter how much Joe could sit here and say, or Marie could sit here and say, I love Joe so much, I would have waited 4 years. But when when reality sets in and all of a sudden Marie's left on her own for 6 months and Joe's not around, and then it's a year, and now it's a year and a half. At what point does Marie have to move on with her life and find closure, like you said? I hate saying move on with her life, but at some point she has to find that peace knowing that he's not coming back. I feel
Yeah,
like do you just never move on because he's not been found, or do you at some point, like Joe said, have to move on, right?
I would feel like once the search and rescue is pretty much over, you know, you're gonna wait a little while just in case, but after that, you have to move on and get closure in your life because it, a lot of times if somebody's not searching for for him, it's pretty hard. Even though he got off that island, it's hard for anybody to survive that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, at some point, what do you start to, you like you just said, it's hard to survive that. So other people, how are you supposed to have faith or believe that this person's going to be found? For all you know, you're never going to find the body because he drowned and he's at the bottom of the ocean, or
Hmm.
the whatever. And it's like that's what I would assume. A lot of people aren't found lost at sea because they just go drown. You never find the body.
You can dehydrate at sea faster than you can drown at sea just because of not having any way to actually get hydration because salt water doesn't hydrate you. You can't drink it.
Yeah.
Right.
Look, I was gonna
So
say, look at one of the most famous plane crashes ever, Amelia Earhart, that tried to fly around the world. To this day, they've never found her body. They've never found her plane. They have all these assumptions of it, but to this day, you know, it's never been found. And this is, 50, almost 70 years later now.
Yeah.
So, you know, to this, the world is so vast. You're pretty much, it's smaller than a needle in a haystack of what you're looking for.
Yeah, especially over an ocean.
Yeah. Look, I was going to say, look at the Titanic. It took 80 years just to find that, and they had an idea where it was.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of bodies. It's at what point do you move on with your life? And not just that, you eventually forget. I'm not saying you forget about the person. They're always going to be in your heart, but I think at some point you just have these moments. You go on with your daily life. You learn how to move on. And it's not that you forget, maybe you hold out hope, but at some point I have to move on with my life.
Well, it's one of those things. Even if you love somebody as much as they obviously did, as much as he had to survive there, she had to survive in her world.
Mhm.
So you have to find that no matter what the situation is. And hers was to find stability in her new husband,
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right, and I do love the scene when she gets in the car at the end of the movie after they, like, kiss and then she gets in and she's like, "I can't go," and and he's like, "Yeah," and he's like, I'll drive you back in the driveway," and it is heartbreaking, that entire scene towards the end of, like you just said, Nikki, they loved each other, but, she has kids now and a husband, like you said, and unfortunately, you move on, and it's like a lot of times you can't just go back to your old life with him. You have a new life now with kids, and
Right.
that
Right.
changes everything. It's not
And
just the husband, it's kids too.
people don't, side note, people don't really talk about that very often. If you've been married more than one time, if you've been in a relationship with someone for a long period of time, or you just felt a strong connection to someone for a long period of time, or even a short period of time that was, you know, you felt was a real connection. If something happens and that relationship is over, those connections don't always go away. Like, people have to sometimes learn to live with loving more than one person. It's out there. It happens. Circumstances happen. Those just happen to be, extraordinary circumstances with their situation.
Mhm. Um, the scene with Wilson when he gets lost at sea, yeah, I say he. They identify as a volleyball. But it looked like he was so close. And even watching it, I'm like, I don't know if that was the idea to make it look like it was so close, but yet so far away. And it's
Yeah.
like you're screaming almost at the TV, let go and just grab it. It's a few feet away, just grab it and swim back. But the current and the
Mhm.
it's just like you don't know what's gonna happen. Does he can't not get back to his raft. He's gonna die if he doesn't. Like he can't let go of
Right.
that raft. But you're like, just let go for 2 seconds and go back. But then the rope falls under the water and you can't find it. And it's just like, though, it is heartbreaking. And then he gets the volleyball again at the end of the movie. But it is like, I remember when this movie came out, everybody talked about, like, how can a volleyball make you cry?
Because
I mean,
he pretty much made it his friend the whole time it was there.
Right.
yeah.
So
It's
that was his way to keep his sanity, to feel like somebody else was there and he
Mhm.
wasn't by himself. So he had something to talk to. So he made an inanimate object like a person,
Yeah.
just so he wouldn't lose his mind being alone for 4 years on an island.
It is wild watching that though, in being like I think to me it speaks volumes to the director and the actor, but the director that Robert Zemeckis is, to be able to get that kind of emotion out of a volleyball.
Mhm.
And obviously Tom Hanks acting as well.
Yeah, and everything, like even when he starts having the conversation and he starts answering, like, I know it was a
Yeah.
bad decision, you know, and he's like having this guilt. It's like he felt like he had somebody finally to hold him accountable. So now he started doing things.
Mhm.
You know, he started opening the packages. He started, well, I mean, you know, that's how he found him, but you know, he started making sense of using the things found in the packages to sustain and cut open coconuts and make spears so he could, you know, get him a crab, make fire.
Yeah.
The making fire. I love that scene.
Oh, fire, right? Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, but being alone like that and not really having anybody to count on but your very own self. Like, man, if that ain't the biggest mirror, like
Mm.
you can't blame nobody. You're there alone. I mean, you can blame what happened, but what's that going to get you? You're just going to be there mad. So
I love how when he takes this ice skate and he gets his tooth, it just that's the scene it skips 4 years later.
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. Now,
mm.
I'm gonna skip ahead. If you guys want to keep, talking about other scenes in the movie, I just want to, because I could talk about this for like 6 hours. That ending where he's at the crossroads and you see him in
Mhm.
the middle of the road, and there's literally 4 ways. It's like you go straight, go backwards, go left, go right, and I think he's like looking at the map too. In your whole entire life, you were just on this island for 4 years, and you come back, and it's almost like you're not. It's almost like your island was home. You don't have a home anymore. You literally don't. Your wife is your fiance, I guess at the time, or whatever. She is with another man, so you don't have a home there. Like it's been 4 years. You don't have friends. You literally have nothing, no home. I don't know
And
you.
that chick even said to him, you look lost,"
Right.
because he was.
I mean, I'm sure he gets a lawsuit maybe or something like that. So I'm sure he would have money to go get a place, whatever. But where do you go? Like she said, you're lost. Like you are, and he is, and it's where do you go from there? And I think that is such a great analogy of our lives. Sometimes in life, some of us, sometimes more than others, whatever, you not physically the way he was, but you get stuck at a crossroads. And sometimes you're stuck in the middle, like he was, so to speak. And
And
you're just trying to figure it out. Where do I go? Where do I go from
and
here?
his harsh reality was he spent those 4 years looking at that one picture to fight to get back to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came back and that wasn't even a reality.
You know how many times you're right, Nikki? How many times, even, I mean, Pearl Harbor, like he says, you're the reason I came back. Like so many times in so many of these movies, men are like driven by their woman, the love of their life, to get them back. Like we fight to come back because of you. Like without her, he probably would have died. Without her in Pearl Harbor, you know what I mean? Like I know these are movies and they're fiction and everything like that, but it is true. Like I think that's a very true statement about a lot of men where if you have a good woman in your life that you truly love, you will fight and do whatever it takes to come back to her and get back to
Yeah.
her.
It gave him a purpose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's that whole scene though, man. I watched that and I'm like, I can relate in ways of like at times in my life I've been at a crossroads, and I think like I was recently telling Becca this. And I feel like, Joe, you've gotten emotional on here. Nikki, everybody does. I feel like tonight's stream might hit me hard. And it's funny because I told Becca like 3 weeks ago, I was saying I'm doing this stream, and for me, I felt loneliness before I met you. Like I felt alone, and then I met you. I don't feel that way anymore having Becca in my life, but um I still do spend my alone time, but like I have felt, and even now, even with her, sometimes I'm so hard on myself, and sometimes I find myself at a crossroads. It's different than it used to be, but I still find myself sometimes like, where do I go? Like I'm struggling or something like that. You know, you're stuck in the middle. You're going through the motions sometimes, and you're like, do I go left or do I go right? Do I go straight? What am I doing? Like how do I figure this out? And I can relate so much to that end of that movie. And I'm sure most people can, but like that whole just being at a crossroads and trying to figure it out. Like I am so grateful that my life has changed in the last, 5, 6 months and things like that. I was in a rough place and everything, but as Joe just said, purpose, like I've found my purpose now. And I've been there though, that crossroads, like where you don't know where to go. And you're lonely and you feel alone in that process. Like you have your friends, you have good friends, but you feel alone. And sometimes you do that to yourself.
Well, especially after you've had to rely on only you.
Yeah.
Especially then. Now the part that I liked about the way I perceived the last scene, he got to choose. He had a clean slate. He got to choose with a whole new perspective. So, hope he lived a good life.
Yeah. Right. Joe, you're quiet tonight, just listening to us.
I'm listening, and I'm always trying never to interrupt.
All right, Camp Crystal Lake over there. I appreciate that. Joe, you know what? You have we all are capable of that, everybody, especially somebody like myself and you, Joe, because we're talkers. But I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, man, like it's this is a compliment, it's not to sound bad. It's very noticeable and evident that you work hard to not interrupt. And I appreciate that, but like it's cool, you know what I mean? Like I appreciate that because it is
Yeah.
hard. I'm guilty of it too, man.
I was gonna say, as you know, I do it all the time. I when it comes to these streams, I work hard not to.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard not to, though. You're
Yeah.
right. It's hard
I
not
want to. I'm sitting on my hands, but I want to sit on my lips.
We've all done it. We've all done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, Nikki, do you ever feel like with what you're going through right now, sometimes you're stuck in the middle or at a crossroads or kind of going through the motions or anything like that?
Yeah, these last few weeks have been probably the hardest of that part of it. Like, the way that the first 2 treatments they did one way, the second 2 treatments they did another way, which they were only supposed to do 3, and then after they got the 3rd one done, they called me up later that evening or the next day or whatever it was and was like, "Surprise, I'm gonna throw another one in there before you start your next part," and so it's been I've done more sleeping in the last 2 weeks than I've done in 10 years probably. I can't seem to stay awake, wanna stay in the bed, like, Jeff and the family come over last night, and his wife made dinner for us all, and it was all I could do just to keep my eyes open till they could go so I could get a shower and go to bed because I was worn out, but I hadn't seen him in 2 weeks. Like, I don't go 2 weeks and not see my grandbabies, and I don't know. So, yeah, it's been lonely. It's been
I
going
don't
through all of it. Yeah.
I don't mean to get super personal, and you could stop me if I am. And
No, you're good.
we'll get more into it with some of the questions, but speaking of loneliness, like obviously, so physically you're not alone. You got Tony, you got Jeff, you got the kids, the grandbabies, things like that. Like, and they're over a lot, Bree and people are in your life talking to you. So physically you're not alone. Do you ever feel like though going through what you go through that you're alone in that process or like in your head that people
Yes, and I was going to say earlier when you were talking about him and his friends' reactions to one another once he came back from the island. They'll never go through what he's gone through. So they'll never be on the same level of where their headspace is. You no matter what you say to somebody, they will never know until they go through their own emotions with it. Now their emotions might not be the same as mine. However, until you've lived through this, my stepson's mother and I've told you before, her and I are really close friends. She was recently, as a matter of fact, when we were streaming last month, they were trying to get a hold of me and I was on Do Not Disturb like I am every time we stream, and found out she's got lung cancer and it's not in a good place either. So her and I have been talking about, what it's been like for the treatments and this, that, and the other. Because, of course, she's terrified too, Tell you what I told her. I ain't scared of a motherfucking thing no more. Except for not being an old great-grandmother. That's it. I just want to be here. Trying to do the things that ensure that I get to stay here. It's been a lot of quiet time, a lot of reflecting time. I mean, anybody who knows me knows that I hate the pharmaceutical industry for what it is. I hate the way we have to beg for help when we need help. I hate the food industry and the way it is. But do I sit around and be angry about all that? No, I try not to. I just want to try to look for healthier alternatives and take better care of myself. Went to an appointment this morning, and it takes quite some time to get from where I live to any of these appointments. And so my husband and I were having a conversation, and I want a cigarette so bad, guys. I can't. I'm about to hurt someone. Like I'm about to hurt someone over a cigarette, and I ain't had one since December 1st. Smoking these BS things. I've smoked cigarettes since I was 9 years old. I've never not had a cigarette. I want one so bad, but I want to be here at 80 worse. But it's a hard day, when you really, 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 really want a cigarette.
Hearing you say that, Joe had mentioned earlier the purpose, and just hearing you speak, it's clear, it's obvious. I mean, of course, but your kids, your grandkids, your kids, your husband, your purpose, it's your reason to fight and keep going. And like you said, you want to see those grandkids grow up and get older, and you want to be around for it.
A couple weeks ago, they were over here. They all have their little handheld game systems or whatever, and we always have them in hand when they're around, and we all have them. And the youngest one is 6, and he's on a timer. But when we're all playing, we just put in a little code in his system, and well, he was showing his mom. His timer was going off, but none of us were playing. He was playing by himself, and My grandkids call me Mam Mam for anybody that doesn't know. And he was showing his mom, and he's like, I need you to put my code in. And she was like, oh, you do? He was like, or I can ask Mam Mam because she always does it because she's the best. Dude, I want to be here for their kids to say that. I want to bake cookies. I want to, make cake. I want to sit in the sunshine. I can't go out in the sun right now, but we've been having some really pretty days. Their mother came over and planted the garden this last week, so I've seen her quite a bit this week. Even though I haven't seen the babies, I've seen her, a few times, and so she's gonna deal with the garden this year, and but it's just so nice to have her around, and it's nice to have the kids around, and I watched her play in the sunshine with them kids yesterday because I couldn't go out and get in it until after all this is done. I mean, I can go out for a few minutes, but not long. I don't want to cook, this is the South. But it's just such a warm feeling, and then my other son's trying to move back to the area, like onto my property. Woohoo! Yay! I don't know how long that's going to take for that to happen, but he's been gone for 6-7 years now, and so we're going to have. I feel like things are coming together, but all this heinous crap I'm going through in the meanwhile, it's just. I'm just trying to enjoy it and be grateful. It's just those little things.
It's hard in the midst of what you're going through
Sorry.
to find.
Don't be sorry.
Don't be sorry. I think it's, for one, it's courageous what you're going through and fighting, and number two, I think it's hard to be grateful, like to be sunshines and rainbows when life is hard and you're going through hell. I think it's hard.
Yeah. And I like I said, my day started off not so good today. I spent an hour and a half drive just chewing my husband out over a cigarette. I mean, I just want a cigarette, and it's stupid, but I've never not, so it's like I still crave it. I might always crave it. What are you gonna do then? But I didn't go buy any. So that.
December 1st. Congratulations. Good.
Yeah, I'm past my 90-day mark. You'd think I wouldn't want them anymore, but
Yeah, that's tough. I'm gonna catch up with the chat a little bit here. I appreciate that, Nikki, though. I know I got a little personal for you and everything, but I
you're
appreciate
good.
taking the time. Using the
Well,
skates.
I'm gonna tell you what I told my friend, my stepson's mama, my sister. Don't be scared of it. Kick its ass. Don't be scared of nothing. Just go do it. Just go get it. It's yours. Just go get it. That's it.
Yeah, that's good advice. Amen. Johnny says using the skate to remove a tooth isn't something I do, but
I don't know, man. I've had some. Whew.
Oh yeah, I don't have the. I'm always. I guess if we're gonna get on teeth hair, so I'm probably my biggest thing I'm self-conscious about is my teeth, and Becca has like pearly whites that are super straight, and so I'm like extra self-conscious, and I don't like to smile with my mouth open, but she likes me to, and I hate it because of my teeth, but I try to, do what she likes. And at the end of the day, if the person isn't judging you for what you're self-conscious about and she makes you feel the opposite, then I feel more confident to be able to smile with my mouth open. But I got teeth problems too. It sucks. I hate it. So, hey Bobby Blue, what's up, Adrian? How you doing? Adrian, hey movie hunter. Chuck has lost control of time and is no longer trapped by it. He's now free to go with the flow and not be constrained by it.
Exactly.
Hey, Jeff's in the chat.
Hey,
Good.
babe.
Hey, hiya, Jeff. Movie hunter says, "I am so proud of you, Nikki. Some impossible things are possible." Marie says. Yeah.
Thank you, Marie.
And Nikki says, "I'm so proud of you, Mama. Love you, lady." Caprice says,
Love you, Caprice.
"Hey,
Hope you
Caprice.
feel better, babe.
Thanks for being here, Caprice." I feel you on the smiling thing, Bob. Yeah, it's tough. You look great when you smile, Becca says. Yeah, it's tough for me to want to do it. Okay. Joe, I'll let you have the floor for a while, Joe. You got anything to say if you want to touch on anything or talk about the ending of the movie, what it means to you, or anything we've been talking about? I'll give you the floor for a while.
I'll say that I'm pretty much similar to you guys with the ending. I feel like at the crossroads, he's doesn't know what to do now because he's pretty much starting from scratch because he pretty much lost everything because everybody pretty much pronounced him dead and pretty much everybody moved on. They all came together at the end to see him, but all of his friends moved on with their lives. Everybody moved on, the girl that he was with, and now he doesn't know what to do. So I feel like he's lost on what should he do now because I felt like after a while he was kind of getting used to being on that island, and I think if he didn't have a purpose to leave it, I honestly felt like maybe he would have stayed and just
Yeah.
lived there till he died. But because of his girl, I feel like it was the only reason why he ever wanted to leave.
Yeah, and like you said, I think you both said it, staring at that picture, that painting he drew,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and then the clock he had. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and in the society that we live in, once he figured out his resourcefulness, that's why I said he had such a choice at the end. Like it was unlimited, whatever he wanted to do now.
Yeah.
He'd already survived the worst.
Yeah.
He had survived his absolute worst days.
I get
So
talking you guys talking about the purpose and everything like that. I get it though when you got something, when you got a why that's so strong, when you love someone that much, the way like you said, Nikki, he did, and Joe talking about like how he fought to get off that island. When you care about someone that much, like when it's that good, and you can see it from the very brief time we spend with the two of them, that they were great together. They were happy together. And
Mhm.
he
yeah,
loved her and she loved him. And so yeah, I think when you have that kind of love and you care about someone that much, I think you do, like you said, try and do whatever you can to get off that island.
Yeah,
So
because even when he got on that raft that he made, as I said earlier, the ocean is so large and so unknown. He didn't know leaving when he was on that island, he was able to be self-sufficient enough to stay alive. Once he got on that raft, he would never know if he was going to be found or find land or find a boat or find anything. He could have died on that raft.
mhm.
But to him, trying to go back to his girl meant more to him than staying alive on that island by himself. So he pretty much risked his life to go out on a raft, hoping that he would be found or find something. He took pretty much one of the biggest leaps anybody could take and go into an unknown like that and pretty much, you know, hopefully you can cheat death.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You like you said, it's a huge unknown. You're at the mercy of the ocean or the sea, and but like you said, Joe, I think you get to that point where you're just like, I'm either gonna see her again or I'm gonna die out here, like trying, but I'm not gonna sit any longer on here. Like I'm gonna do something at some point. And I agree with Joe that I think it was her the only reason why he even would think about trying it
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
being or like fighting to stay alive.
And I agree with that because, like I said, he even though we find out later on of the rope that he made and everything, I felt like after that he left that as an option probably if he ever got sick or anything like that, or just couldn't take it anymore on that island, that he felt like he was never going to be able to get off of it. But as time went on, like people said earlier, with him finding Wilson and having something to talk to, he pretty much was self-sufficient enough with the way he lived that he could have lived there till he died.
And I
Yeah.
will say this about the rope he made. I think sometimes you can want to escape, you don't want to do it anymore. You just want to be done. You want it over. But you don't have the ability to kill yourself to end it, like to jump off the cliff or whatever. It you know what I mean? Like I've had my moments where I have, and I think a lot of people have struggles where I have really struggled and I did not want to be here any longer. But I thought about it, but I also don't I didn't feel like I could get to that point where I could ever end my life no matter what. Like in my own life. I don't think I'd have the ability no matter what I'm going through, but I've gone through stuff where I want to. I've even written like a letter and everything a while back. And so it's just I I think it's tough to want some people to end it. And for some people the pain is so much they just want to end it. They don't want to be here. And I guess the pain is greater, you know, than, staying alive and going through it.
And as we just said, the greater cost for him was getting off that island to find her.
Right.
Out of everything,
And at
that
that
was
point, at least you died trying on the ocean instead of just ending it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, some people want to give up, and I I'm not gonna sit here and say like it's cowardly or anything because everybody's going through and fighting battles and stuff. But then you got people like Nikki who are going through a lot and choose to fight. They choose to stay. Choose to go through it. Go through hell and try and come out on the other side. And I admire that. It's courageous and it's not easy. I'm gonna catch
Appreciate you.
I'm gonna catch up with the chat here. Okay. Loneliness. Okay, Prince says, loneliness came to me in a time where my father was seemingly trying to control my life in terms of my dreams. Wanted to be a teacher at first, but changed my mind, wanting to be an artist instead. My dad sometimes does not understand some things. He doesn't want to support it. He believes what he believes in. But hey, at least he changed his perspective now. He can't control me anymore. I stopped college 2 years ago, hence why I am here. Here I am living my best life.
Good
It
for you, Prince.
can be tough, but yes, Prince, absolutely good for you. Um, did you guys want to jump into the questions?
Let's do it.
Sure.
All right. I'm gonna go get my charger because otherwise my laptop's gonna die. I was an idiot and didn't grab it. So I'll put up the first question, which if there's always, a character we can talk about. How can you relate to Chuck? I will let one of you take that, and I'm gonna grab my charger.
Go ahead, Joe.
How I can relate to Chuck, I think sometimes, again, if depending on with his back against the wall and having to fight to be resilient to survive and then to come off. I feel like those are certain ways that I can relate just because I felt like I fought pretty much my whole life with different things, and as similar to him with different crossroads that I've come up with and different sacrifices or different things I've had to do to be resilient to keep on, as I always say to Marie, to keep on chugging. And it's just that's how I can relate to the most with him is his resilience and his drive of
Yeah.
trying to go through all that. Because like I said, there's plenty of times that with me, I felt like things were really, really grim, but I just, no matter what, I just kept on fighting through it and found some type of purpose to keep that drive alive.
Yeah, I mean, it helps a lot when you have a end goal,
Hmm.
but sometimes the drive is more important so that you can reach the goal. Like you
Yeah,
got to have the drive too. Yeah, I agree with that.
yeah. So,
When and when I used to run businesses, I had a great mentor, and he just taught me so many things about like what my responsibilities were and what my teaching moments were and what my opportunities were to make my job so much easier than what most people put themselves through in that position. And so yeah, the drive makes all the difference. The drive makes all the difference. But if you don't have drive, you're never going to reach your goal.
I
And
agree.
he had to get up out of there right now. So yeah, I'll agree with that.
I agree completely because I always talk about, like, everybody always talks about motivation, but motivation is temporary. Drive is what wakes you up every morning, and it's drive and having a why so strong that when your life is falling apart and your back's against the wall, what keeps you going? It's not motivation. Motivation is temporary. It has
mhm.
moments,
Yeah.
but it's drive. It's a why. It's something to pull you through those moments and say you got to keep going. It's something like, Nikki, I'm going to harp on you again, but it's having a why so strong that says I'm going to fight and I'm going to stay here and I'm going to keep do this because my my why is bigger than cancer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When when I was on the phone with someone a few months ago when this all first started, and my granddaughter overheard the word cancer for the first time, the look on her face, I was like, okay, this is just going to be a teaching opportunity. So when I got off the phone and she questioned me about the conversation she just heard, um, I was just honest with her from the moment we started the conversation, all the way up until yesterday when they were here for dinner. I just sat down with her and said, okay, this is the next steps of what I have to do. And I mean, she's going to be 12 years old. She can go read this stuff on the internet. I mean, the horrors that they're going to find on the internet, might as well just tell them the truth. And she's, making fun of me and taking it like a champ, and it's fine. Like, you know, I'm going to get through it because I have that, because I have her smiling face walking in here like, you're beautiful. And I'm like, no, you're beautiful. And she's like, no, you're the best. And I'm like, no, you're the best. And, that's the best argument in the whole wide world to have, so
Arguing over who's better.
that's right.
uh,
I said, well, God only put us in each other's lives because we're both supposed to be here. Yeah, I guess so, she'll say.
Good old Evelyn. Uh, Nikki, did you want to touch on like how in what ways you can relate to Chuck at all?
uh, I mean, I guess it kind of goes back to what we talked about prior. about the whole when you start twisting things up in your mind, like when he finally started having the little breakdowns. And I mean, he'd already been through the injury and the healing I mean, God only knows by the time he finally started opening that stuff and he had Wilson, how long had he already been there at that point? Like, there wasn't a real clear indication of that. Like, that could have been a few months, that could have been, a little longer, who knows? But I feel like the more you let thoughts in, because like in the beginning, like I said, he was concentrating and he was trying to figure out things. Well, once Wilson came along, he went through an angry phase. And you could kind of see his reflecting, trying to blame, trying to, find somewhere else to put the responsibility because he was tired. He was worn out already by then.
Mm-hmm.
But then he started getting through this, breaking things down in his mind and troubleshooting, I guess, is kind of a good word for it, of how he was going to make the next step. And then the miracle of all miracles, the Porta-John. Like, without that, no raft, no way out. So by then he'd already been through all of his mentals. When you're alone like that, and believe me, like you said, I can open my door and I can speak to who I need to speak to. I got a phone, I can call out, I can get to who I need to, but nobody's in here with me. But by the time he got that far, he'd already been through all his desperations. He was back to being able to calculated process thinking, so he was able to figure that out, make that raft, and get himself out of there. Those are survival skills that a lot of people don't realize you go through. So to me, the way I relate to him is I could see his process through each one of those things. Because some days I have one piece of the process, and other days I have another piece of the process. So it makes your mind crazy. My boss texted me today and was like, "How you feeling?" I was like, "Nuts, just nuts, just nuts today." And she's been through it. Like, she's she's a 5-year remission survivor, so she's been there. She knows. She's just like, "Okay, I love you." She's, what else is she gonna say? She knows I'm just having that day. Today's that day. So
The thing that I thought about after seeing that movie was, could I survive something like that? And I always said no, for the sole purpose of, I'm allergic to seafood. I would be there with hives and scratching myself till I bleed. But it's just like, I don't know if I could actually do something like that. I don't think most people could.
I mean, I never say never. Just like never say never that somebody can't get to the rock bottom, because they can. Never say never that you can't survive your worst day.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, your book of recipes up to this point in life might not have those recipes in it yet, but put in that situation, I think you have the troubleshooting skills to survive that after everything you've been through.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe.
I actually forgot. Because I didn't have my darn notebook. How can I relate to Chuck? It's something I completely forgot. So I'm gonna tie it back into this because it's one of the most important parts of the movie. It's the monologue that he has in after he sees his ex fiance or whatever, and he says, "I know what I have to do now. I've got to keep breathing because tomorrow the sun will rise. Who knows what the tide could bring?" And I think that ties back to what Nikki was saying, that he has the world at his fingers now. He can go anywhere, do anything, and he says, "Who knows what the tide could bring?" And I guess how can I relate to Chuck? It would actually be somewhat of that quote: "Is I got to keep breathing," and it is so hard sometimes to want, when you're struggling and you feel like the whole world's but then you realize other people have it way worse than you, and that does help sometimes to understand, but it's that, yeah, no matter what, you got to keep breathing, and you don't know what the next day could bring. And Nikki's always talking about that, and it is true. You don't know what the tide could bring, because tomorrow the sun will rise no matter what, and
Yeah,
you got to keep breathing.
because that's how he ties it all back to when he was on that island. He always went to the shoreline, seeing what the tide brought in, and that's how he got that porta john to get himself
Mm,
off of
Yeah.
that island. So he's like, you know, I'll wake up tomorrow because now that he's back, he's like, maybe that next porta john that's it's going to get me through life to go further is, some type of a metaphor for what's going to happen next in his life, and he's waiting for that next thing to push him to the next level. And it
thank
just
That's really good. Sorry, Joe, I interrupted. That's really good. Sometimes my brain doesn't even comprehend that. That's like that literally is a metaphor for what the whole porter potty thing. It's great.
yeah,
It's a great catch. It's a great catch.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what you look at, because when you're, whenever you go to any kind of ocean, because of the tides and everything, you never know what's going to be coming in. So I always looked at it as that was always a good metaphor to how he got off that island. And now he's using that same line of to move past everything that happened to him once he's back.
I do like that a lot. Um, that's why I love talking about movies with other people. All right. Prince said, "I had to experience being lonely to get to this point. There was no easy route until knowing I'm matured enough to make my own decisions, to make myself content and happy, being happiness secured." Bang, bang.
Right on.
Smaller, huge amount of money. I don't care. My happiness matters in the end. End of speech. Appreciate you sharing. Prince. Anthony says, "Hey, everyone, just got
Oh,
home from work
Anthony.
and I had to cook some food. Loving the conversation as always." Well, Anthony, don't hold out on us. What's for dinner? Movie
Right.
Hunter says, "Hey, Anthony." Jeff says, "Hey, Anthony." A lot of highs to Anthony. Jeff, my new arch nemesis. Johnny, my dear friend, I do apologize and I owe you one. Yeah, you could give him one in Tennessee then. Bring him a monster, Jeff. Bring him a monster to make up for it. Yo, Hunter, Johnny, Jeff, Princey Prince, and all you other beautiful people. All right, next question. How much of your loneliness is external versus internal? Do you mind if I jump on
Mm,
this one really quick?
Go
you
for
go
it.
right ahead.
I think this question is a lot of what I think about. So back before I met Becca, I could sit there and say I struggle with loneliness. I did. I struggled being alone physically and feeling alone mentally. I was alone. I lived in my apartment alone. I still do, but like I didn't have really anybody, I didn't talk to my family a whole lot. I even kind of escaped from the community, so to speak, a little bit, kind of shut people out. How much of your loneliness is external versus internal? So for me, I think at this point in my life, it's very internal. And what I mean by that is, so I thought about this. I should have wrote it down because I was literally thinking about what I was going to say to this question when I wrote that. And um, I'm going to speak for Joe for a minute.
Go for it.
uh, and on behalf of a lot of men. Men internalize and struggle with a lot of things, and we keep things in. We bottle things up. We battle a lot of demons in our head, and we eat it. We take it because we don't want to scare the people that we love. We don't want to worry them, whether it's finances or whether it's a struggle you're having, pain, hurt, whatever it is. So men internalize a lot of things. And I think that sometimes I find myself feeling lonely or alone in my own head by the way I try to face my struggles on my own. And I understand that women want to also be a caretaker, and you care about your man and everything like that, and you say like open up and everything. But see, most women, and I understand men don't understand women in certain ways too, but I think a lot of women don't understand that it is so hard for a man to open up, but also a large part of that is to try and protect the ones we love, to not worry them. And I always say, like, you don't want to know the things that are in my head. It comes back to Goodwill Hunting, in that scene where she's like, let me in, I want to know. And he's like, you don't want to fucking know. You don't want to know what I struggle with. You don't want to know what's in my head. I love that scene. It's so powerful.
Hmm.
Um and I think once again, I'm speaking for Joe when I say I really do feel like Joe can relate to what I'm saying in a lot of ways, is trying to just hold it all together, be the provider, show up for Marie, show up for his son. And that's the way it is with me too. Like, even though my girlfriend does not expect me to provide everything, as a man, I want to. And I want to work hard. And then I feel like I'm not doing enough, even though I'm burning myself out to the very end. But then you still feel like you're not doing enough. And those are the battles that men constantly face almost every day. Of It's internal. It's not that anybody's telling us that or anything. We internalize that, and it can make us feel lonely and alone in that, and we do it to ourselves. Part of it is society put that on men, but I also just do that, and I don't know. I don't know, Joe, if I'm accurate when I say I feel like you could probably relate to that as well.
I would say you're pretty accurate because, as I said in other streams, it was ingrained in my head by my grandmother when I was really young that nobody's going to do anything for you, and if you want anything in life, you're going to have to do it yourself. I was pretty much an only child. I have half brothers and sisters that I don't really know, except for two of them that I disowned, as I said before. But I've lived my life 100% independent since I was 10 and a half years old. And I had a paper route. I bought my own school clothes, bought my own car. I never relied on anybody. And the older I got, the more that I ingrained in my life of I will I will never I've never taken a handout. I will never take a handout. I would rather have nothing than ask anybody for anything. It's just how I am. Even if somebody was begging me for to help me, I cannot do it. It's just in my nature, it's in my DNA. I would go hungry for days before I asked anybody for a piece of bread. It's just how I am. If I can't earn it and I can't do it myself, I feel like I'm useless or I'm no good. I have to feel like I'm the provider. I have to feel like I'm doing my job as the man. So, like I've said it before. A lot of times my biggest enemy is myself, and my biggest enemy is what's in here because of how I was brought up, of not relying on anybody. And that's why I I pretty much disowned everybody in my life when it came to family or anything like that I because I'm so independent and everything, to me it didn't serve a purpose. I didn't need family in my life because I always felt like similar to Chuck will go. I'm on an island by myself in my own head. So I looked at it as I didn't need the people around me because I didn't want them to rely on me and I didn't want to rely on them. I wanted to do it on my own. And I didn't want nobody ever to see me falling on my face. If I fell on my face, I wanted it to be quiet and silent so I can figure out and learn from it.
Joe, I wanted to touch on because you said it's easy to feel useless or like you're not good enough, or I know you were saying a couple things. I know that, okay, for example, my girlfriend has never ever once made me feel or said anything to make me feel like a failure. If anything, it's the opposite, right? Like she does the exact opposite. She says the exact opposite. As a man, though, you feel like you're never doing enough. It's so easy to feel that way.
Marie could tell me until I'm blue in the face that I'm doing good and I'm doing well and thank you for this and that. And I appreciate all that stuff. But until I feel that same way, I don't feel like I'm at the tip of Everest. I might, you might feel like you're climbing Everest from people telling you things like that, but until you feel it yourself, you're never going to feel like you're there. And
and the problem
I don't think I honestly feel like in my own head I'll never reach Everest.
I agree.
I'm always
well,
I
and I
always
was going
feel
to say, because the problem men have is they can't, you get there, you can touch that bar and you push it up another level before you reach it.
Mhm. Agreed
Yeah.
with that. Agreed with
So that's you
because
put the weight on your
because
own shoulders. That's
Mhm.
absolutely right.
I no matter what, I can always feel like I can do more or I should be doing more. So
that. Exactly. You're never content. You can work 20 hours a day and sleep 4 hours and still feel like you're not doing enough.
yeah,
And then and just
I've
struggle.
I've been doing since January. I've been doing 70-hour work weeks, barely seeing my son, doing everything that I have to do, and I'm always tired for doing it. But I
And you
feel
don't
like
show it, but you can't show it. You don't want to show it. You don't want to
no,
let
and I feel, and in my brain, I feel like I can't say no. I feel like it's not that I have to do it. It's that I feel like if the if you're in the bread line and they're giving you bread, take the bread because you never know when that bread is gonna, not be there. So right now, because work's giving us all this overtime, I'll take everything that they give me because I remember a year and a half ago working 4 days a week and not working Fridays because we were really slow. And then figuring out, okay, I'm losing all this money. I got to figure out how to provide for everybody. So I look at it as, you know, when it's time to feast, you feast, or when it's time to famine, you figure you famine and nobody else famines, and you figure it out. So,
Now, Joe, so with this question, I mean, it sure does sound like you, like me, internalize a lot of things.
oh
and,
yeah,
and you keep it in. And does it cause at times, like, I don't want to even say loneliness, but does it sometimes cause just for you in your head? But once again, you don't want to show it because you don't want to worry anyone and you just got to go through it, right? But do you ever kind of struggle internally though of like, this is hard. Like I'm tired, I'm exhausted, but I have to keep going.
it's hard. It's hard, and it's hard, but I feel, I just look at it as I have to keep on moving on and do what I have to do.
Yeah.
It's
You figured it
it's
out. You figured it out.
it's the choice I made, and it's the cross I bear because of, like I said, it was ingrained in me when I was young, and because of that, it's how I live my life. I will I'm the type of person that I can't sit still. I have to feel like I'm doing something. I feel like I have to be serving some type of purpose, even like on weekends sometimes, because I've been working a lot. On my days off, sometimes I'm exhausted. I want to stay home, but because Marie's been home all week and my son's been at school, it's like, oh, let's go on a little bit of a road trip on Sunday. Let's go do something, you know, together as a family, because I don't want to feel that I'm letting them down, that I rather be at home and relax than going out and doing something. Even though they probably wouldn't mind staying home, I feel like I'm taking something away from them, if that makes any kind of sense.
You feel like you'd miss an opportunity.
Yeah. Even though, I could still have the same opportunities of being home with both of them, I feel like because he's been cooped up at school all week, she's been cooped up at home all week. I feel like I don't want to, I don't know, kind of let them down, of just being like, I don't really feel like I do anything. I'm exhausted. Because even like sometimes, and Marie will tell you, there's times I come home, I sit on the couch, and literally I'm only up for 2 hours a day, maybe an hour and a half. This is like way past my bedtime. And literally by the time I get home, I'm falling asleep, that I could barely keep my eyes open. And I'm trying to read to my son. I'm slurring the words. I'm trying to get him to bed. And then I try to eat something. And then I sit down for a second and I pass out. And then I wake up, shower, go to bed, and I pass out again. And I feel sometimes like a piece of crap, because it's like all I do is work. And when I am home to spend time with with the family, I could barely function. So sometimes but I don't know. I just feel I can't stop. You
Mhm.
know, it's like a drug addict. I always said, I'm just like a workaholic, and if it's there, I can't stop. I can't stop to not do it.
Mhm.
So I do what I have to do, because I always feel like I want to be able to. I never want to let anybody down, and so I feel like, similar to what Bob was saying, how he felt alone for a long time, until I got married in 2001. Before that, I was alone all my life, since the 70s. Even though I had my grandmother and everything, I stayed to myself. I started working. I worked like crazy. I had girlfriends here and there, but work was more important than anything else to me. And I let go of all my friends, let go of all my family. And I stayed alone for almost a decade, that I had no friends, no family. It was me and work. And I, I never felt alone. That's the one difference. I never felt alone, because I've always been alone my whole life. So I can go a decade and never feel like I'm missing out on anything or feel alone on anything, because I've been there, and I never felt like I needed anything or needed anyone, until I felt like I started getting older, and I was like, oh, maybe I should, start something. But before that, it didn't bother me being alone. I I always felt alone. I said it before. I think I said it to Bob. I I've been in rooms full of hundreds of people and felt completely alone. It doesn't matter who's in the room, it's what's in here.
Loneliness
You,
is a state of mind.
yeah.
That's why I
So
think that, when it comes to that question, Nikki, do you feel like you ever struggle with loneliness internally?
Absolutely, all my life.
Like you
I,
said,
I, I grew
think,
I grew up with older brother, younger brother, me in the middle, only girl, and we had 3 older brothers even that didn't live with us most of the time, and so it was like I've always been the only. That started my life. I've always been the only. So everything I've ever done has always been mentally all here. No matter what. And I can rely on, my husband, I mean, to listen to me and be there when I need him to be, but that I'm not always the best at like today when I was having my little fit this morning about the cigarette. I wasn't being nice, and I told you what, 8-10 months ago, my goal in life is to be nicer to my husband. Well, today I wasn't very nice. Now, was he nice to me? He was very considerate and very nice the entire conversation. He did not lose his shit on me. He had every right to. I was being a total brat. Total brat. Because no matter what, I was realizing in that moment as I'm having my, he's not really living in this moment with me. I mean, he's listening to me live in this moment. Because this is my moment. Don't have nothing to do with him. So, yeah, internally, always.
I need to give Tony a call and ask him how he does it.
Well, I heard him on the phone talking to his friend yesterday, and they were like, how's Nikki doing? Da da da. And he's like, dude, she's a champ. So he just probably don't know what to say, Bob. So he just don't say much.
Yeah, I mean, I guess sometimes that's better than getting upset because somebody's going through a lot, and like you said, being a brat. And if you
now, I have to say, I've been really good through this. Like, I stay in my room if I'm not having a good day. I even lock my door and lock myself in so that no one has to get stabbed by it, because it's ugly some days.
Yeah.
So I've been really quiet. I've learned to sit here and just be really quiet, be sat in my spot and be just as quiet as I can be. And I've purposely been alone with myself a lot lately. Because every day this is a different experience. And I don't really want to bleed it out on everybody else. Today it just bled a little,
So, sometimes you need that alone time to be with yourself. A lot. Everybody needs time for themselves somewhere or another to just be with their thoughts, good or bad, of what the thoughts are in your head, because sometimes you just gotta sometimes you need that time to think and reflect on just different things and life itself. So, a lot of times when life is going 100 miles an hour, sometimes you have to sit by yourself and slow it down to a certain speed to make sense of it and to figure out what's the next step. Sometimes you have to pretty much put yourself in that crossroad
and what's
and
funny
figure it
is,
out.
in the middle of that fit this morning, I had an extremely morbid thought, which I will not repeat. But during that morbid thought, it grabbed me, and I sat back in the seat Now, mind you, it was a high anxiety morning. I had to go and have some tests done. I had to go and get some things. I had an appointment that I didn't really want to just get up and go do. And Bob, you've been here. You know what you drive through on a sunny day to come over and visit me. Well, it's pouring rain at 7:30 in the morning when we leave here this morning, and it's just foggy and smoky in the mountains, and it's just, and it's an hour and a half drive, so my anxiety was real high. I didn't take anything for anxiety today, and I really should have. Lesson learned. I won't leave here next week without taking it. But as that morbid thought hit me, and I had to grab myself and be like, you make your world what you make it by your stupid thoughts. Like, don't think like that. So I was quiet the rest of the way over there, which was only about 15 minutes, because I really did give it to him for a good ways. And then the whole ride back, and I was just really quiet. Well, once we got back home, he says, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go to bed for a while. And I just came in and went to bed. Like, I had to shut it down. And I woke up a little better, but it was a rough morning. Like, and it was all in my own head. So,
I don't know if I'm going to touch on this. So I've said this before. It doesn't matter if there's 100 watching or 10 watching. I know there's always going to be less people watching. The people that I don't want to say are dedicated or whatever, that might not be the right word to use, are going to watch these streams. You know what I mean? Game nights are going to appeal to the masses more. They're, you know what I mean? They're entertaining. This is not necessarily entertaining or fun to talk about some of it. But I will say this, and it's something I didn't talk about. When it comes to the internalizing a lot of what a man goes through, I actually will tie it back to when Anthony said the death by 1,000 cuts. Sometimes you just keep, you're like, you take more on and take it on in this stress and you carry it and you try to fix everything and you want to be there for other people and do this and the work. And it's just like another cut. And you just, it eventually gets to be so much. So the other day, and I'm not somebody who ever really shows too much emotion, not where I let my stress out. And the other day I did with Becca. I was so overwhelmed, and I am not somebody who does that a lot. I try to keep that, but it was like Anthony said. I actually said it to her. I was like, you remember when Anthony said the death by 1,000 cuts? That's kind of what's happening here. It's like, I was like, I deal with stress every day, but I don't talk about it. I was like, but you know what? Today it was just too much. And I bled out, I did it. And I guess the difference is that I can let my stress and turn into anger and frustration. And I think that can be dangerous. And I think sometimes I have to learn. I'm learning through these streams. Like, I learned so much from when Anthony said that. It's carried with me, and I've learned a lot, and I've actually tried to apply a lot of that, so I don't let that happen. And then, like, hearing you guys even speak, especially even tonight, just like, I think Nikki, you sharing the story about, like, I was a brat and my husband just took it, he was good to me. Like, I think sometimes I hear that and I'm like, I need to learn to be Tony in moments and just shut the F up and just not, keep it silent.
And I'll say one thing, and I'll share something that I've never shared before, and it's similar to what you just said about Tony saying death by 1,000 cuts and stress. Something that I do to myself, and Marie knows, but I don't even talk about it. Me, when I'm stressed, I scratch myself. I literally will scratch myself. And I'll sit there and scratch because I'm stressed. That you could see it on my arms. My arms right now, you can see it. They're bleeding because when I'm stressed, I'll scratch myself till I bleed.
Is that just to take so you don't do something else or lash out or like
to calm myself down?
Yeah.
I literally. When the more stressed I get, the more I bleed. And, like I said, it's something that I do. Why a lot of times I wear long sleeves. Because when I get stressed, I just sit there and I just start scratching till I bleed. And then I get blood on my fingers because it's just I get stressed out.
My
And
grandmother used to chew her lip till it bled, and that
it's
was
how I
bad.
cope. It's how I cope with things. It's
Yeah.
you know, I constantly do it. And it's sometimes I'll have a cut on my arm that'll be there for months and Marie's like, why isn't it healing? And it's because I just keep on, as soon as it heals, I'm ripping it back open again. And I'll just sit there and dig and dig and dig because it's what calms me down. You know what I mean? Because of the stress that I go through with trying to take care of everything and the stress that I put myself in every day with work and everything else. It's, it's things that it's the way that I cope. Some people drink, I smoke, but that's sometimes just not enough.
Yeah.
You know, smoking takes the stress away, but sometimes that's not enough. And Marie hates that I smoke sometimes because I don't smoke that as much as I used to. I start doing it till I bleed because I don't want to go outside and smoke. So
Get a
sometimes I
fidget
do.
spinner.
That's I can't.
I told Bob to get one for his little buddy, and I don't know if you looked those up and found those, but I mean, literally, that's I think what kept my grandson from picking when he was younger. He's grown out of it now, but yeah, he loved them. He loved them things. It's just something to do with his hands that wasn't what he's used to doing. So
I'm gonna catch up with the chat. I'll start with one of these really freaking Anthony. Came across this. It's why I smiled. I gotta stay away from the chat. He said, "In 4 years, how many times do you think Tom Hanks beat his meat to that photo?" Come on, Joe.
I mean, if he was a healthy man,
Over
probably a
under,
lot.
Joe. 10 times Joe. Over under.
I would say probably over.
I'll take the over. Oh my gosh, freaking Anthony. He said scrambled eggs with hot dogs, pepper jack cheese, and red hot sauce.
Hey, I think you had that one other time when I
I was
streamed
gonna
with you.
say he's a breakfast at night kind of guy.
Yeah. Oh,
Cause
we
that's the
had
second
breakfast for
time he
dinner.
mentioned breakfast at night.
Yeah, yeah.
We had
Where
breakfast for dinner today. That's all
Joe,
good.
or I'm sorry, Anthony, can you make chocolate chip pancakes for the next one and share with all of us, please? That would be nice of you. Ain't no way I'm drinking a Monster, Bob. I have standards. Me and Jeff.
He's gonna be drinking Mountain Dew.
Yeah, but brought up where a man is supposed to be strong, resilient, and the provider. And if you open up about anything that will show your weakness, it will eventually be used as ammunition against you. Therefore, I never open up. Sad but true. That could not.
Most men would believe that.
That could not be more accurate as to at least how we feel then, because I truly believe, and I think why men don't open up is exactly what he said. I didn't touch on it, but when you do, you're not allowed to, and then the moment you do, it's used against you or it's shown as a sign of weakness. I completely do agree with him, and I really do. I really do believe that.
I will tell you that I have been guilty. I will tell you, I have been guilty for 30 years for picking on my husband about something that I think is funny and he does not. However, he's just learned to live with. I'm just going to pick about it because it's just what it is. However, if he would have never broken down to me about it, I probably would have never trusted him the way I trust him to this day. So it made me stay. It made me understand that when he gave me that vulnerability, I was the one.
Right. And let me tell you, like, Allie, you know, Nikki, all every woman listening, Becca, I mean, if a man is capable of breaking down or being vulnerable and not okay, it is probably one of the hardest things a man can do in front of you. And
Yeah.
do not take that for granted, but also don't take his weakness and ever use it against him. And I think that's what men are so afraid of. It's not even in that moment, it's that it could be 6 months down the road, and all of a sudden you get what you said when you weren't okay used against you later on. And I think that is
Yeah.
what men are afraid of. It's
And
like,
women are guilty of that. Yes, absolutely. Women do that. Now, I know some men who do that too,
to women,
to women.
for sure. I
And
don't.
even their buddies, like if their buddy trusts them with a secret.
Yeah.
I do know men that have done that to their buddies as well. What I can tell you is change your fucking friends.
Yeah.
Get a different set of friends, because those are the assholes. Get them out.
I agree. I Becca had told me a couple of weeks ago, she had texted me and she was like, I don't know why, or she said something along the lines of like, it blows my mind that some women would look at their man differently for opening up and being vulnerable. But some women do. Some women look at that as weakness.
Yeah.
And it is crazy, but it's happened to men. And I think when it does happen once for men, all it takes is one time for a man to sometimes shut down and say, I'm not doing it again.
Yeah, and okay, I think you and I have talked about this before. I'm pretty sure you're the one I had this conversation with. If not, this might be a new revelation. But the way that the way the way that women lump men into a category of men instead of human being, and the way men lump women into a category of women instead of human being, y'all just start seeing that, we all have feelings. We just process them differently.
Mhm.
Get to know your partner, understand their process. That's all it really fucking takes. It really is.
That's such good advice. That is really such great advice. Get to know your partner in the process of what it takes. I think you do. Like, speaking of love languages and stuff, there is a part of giving your partner, I'm not saying giving them what they want or what they need, but
No, it's giving them the grace.
meeting them where they're at, or like understanding or trying to understand, even if you're not great at it or you don't understand, just listening and being there and trying your best to understand.
Yeah.
Anthony says, do you think we look for signs in life to show us the way, or do you believe a higher power is trying to show you a certain path?
I think free will fucks with that so bad. That's a hard one to answer, because I think it depends on where your head is. Like, if you're open to the fact that that the life is showing you the signs and showing you the way, then you probably believe in that higher power to bring you in the right direction. So many things are so negative nowadays. That's a loaded question, Anthony.
Yeah, stick with your how many times is Tom Hanks? You don't need to tell me about loneliness, being by myself all day, but I text Jay throughout the day, but I don't want to bother him. No one else I talk to or family never visits. Yeah, I honestly, Marie, I'm kind of like, I don't text anybody other than Becca, really. I mean, I only talk on the phone anyways. Becca's the only one that gets text from me. So, Nikki and I never text. We only talk on the phone. Like, it's
Right.
rare that you will get a text from Nikki or myself to each other, at least. We hold things in. There are signs everywhere, Anthony. It's up to us to walk through the door, Johnny says. I know what he needs to do. I am thankful for my hour or so. I've never been alone, opposite of Joe. I think that's I can appreciate that Marie lets Joe do what he needs to do, knowing that he's doing everything he can to provide, even if it's hard for her not seeing Joe enough. But I can appreciate allowing Joe to be a man, because I think some women sometimes try to stop their men from being men. Also, my powers, I swear, might go out because
Yeah, I can hear it thundering.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was storming so bad here this morning. I was like, "Oh, are we gonna be able to stream?" And then you text me that, and I was like, "Oh, okay, we might not stream." So, no, I totally agree with Marie. And that here's the thing: when I was to stay at home, and my husband would come home from work, and it would be that dinner time. I don't know what you call that, news hour or whatever. You might get to watch one evening program together, and then it's bedtime. That doesn't really allow for, especially a stay-at-home mom, to really get lonely. And so I will say that I had more alone time then than I do now as a parent whose children are grown and gone. And, you know, I had more alone time then and never felt a moment of loneliness. Just knowing he was coming home, I had a purpose. There was dinner to be made, there was kids to be washed, there was house to be cleaned, there was things to be done. And when the roles got reversed and I had to go to work and he became the stay-at-home, by then the kids were growing up and moving out and doing all that. We were grandparents already, and it was like, okay, so now I don't do those same things anymore. And the responsibilities, when you guys talked about, working the extra hours and the missing the time and doing all that. When Jeff's youngest son was born, for the first year, I was still working 80 to 100-hour weeks. All the way up until October 2nd of this past year, I was still working 3 jobs. Like, I was missing. Well, when I quit the 100-hour-a-week job, I looked at my husband and I said, that little boy won't even come to me and give me hugs and kisses. Like, no, this is not okay. Like, no, I'm never, ever going to work like that again. And then here I found myself falling into the loop of still working 3 jobs because I felt the responsibility of carrying the bills, and I felt the responsibility of making sure there was this and that and everything that was needed. And so that's been the hardest thing for me, is to come to the realization that you have to really figure out what is worth doing without to make sure you survive. But I'm never going to miss the opportunity to hear Oliver look at his mom and go, because Mammon will do it. She's the best. Never again. Never again. So put your life in a perspective of get what you came to get. And I came here to get love and build a family. So that's what I'm here to get.
Yeah,
So maybe that's different for a man. I don't know. But
yeah, I said it to Marie before. I could win the Powerball or any kind of lottery or anything and win multi-millions of dollars, and I would still have to work
still have
because
to do something. Yeah.
I would have to do something. I wouldn't do what I do now. I would probably start my own business, but I still have to get up and do something and serve some kind of purpose in my life.
Yeah.
I couldn't just be at home. I would lose my mind just because I would feel like I'm not accomplishing anything. I would have to have something that I would have to do.
Yeah.
And it's not driving driving around mowing my own yard or cleaning the house or something. I would need like to get out as a man. Just I feel like I have to get out and work doing something. You know what I mean? It's just I couldn't do it. It's just I'm not built that way.
Mm-hmm. My dad's the same way. He's 67. He retired 10 years ago. He still works because he just doesn't know how to stop.
Yeah, even if I could retire, I don't think I ever would. I would still work doing something.
Right, do something, because you're like my dad. Just has to be moving. You just don't you don't know how to not work. It's part
No.
of being a man. Like I think that's part of it for my dad too, you know. Despite what Bob says, he was never alone. He had us, the biggest family we could have imagined. The same with Joe and Nikki. And I think I'm
Love
going
you,
to touch
Johnny.
on that a little bit tonight, but I think that's what happened was I internalized it. So when I was struggling, I had family. I was telling Becca this recently. Like I don't. I was explaining to her there's people that I look at like family, and there's people that are, and it sounds cruel and hurtful, but there's people that are more so like Instagram friends, social media friends. And that sounds super cruel, but at the end of the day, it's like if somebody said, "How dare you say that?" or "That's rude. I don't want to watch your content anymore." It's like, let me ask you, when is the first or only or ever time we ever talked on the phone? Do we even have each other's phone numbers? It's like, no. Look, I love that people show up and support our streams and everything like that. I am super grateful for people like Movie Hunter, great guy. Alex is a great guy. Alex and I don't talk on the phone or hang out or anything like that. It doesn't mean I'm not appreciative of Alex and everything like that. But I'm sure Alex would tell you the same thing. Like, yeah, we're not best friends. That's okay. It doesn't mean that I don't appreciate Alex or look at him as a friend. It's just that there's people like Nikki and Johnny and Jeff and Joe and Adam and these people, a lot of us that go and get together every year in Tennessee, Corey, they're like became like family to me, and there's people you grow apart with, and there's people you get closer with. Somebody like Anthony and Allie are people I'm getting closer with as time goes on. And then there's people like Tim where we used to be super close and we don't talk anymore. And that's okay. We didn't have a falling out. Lives change. People get older, people's jobs change, you travel more, you get married, you get kids, whatever it is. I don't take offense to any of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like it just I don't have a lot of time. I most of my time is either spent working or with Becca. I don't do much else. Corey will call me and ask me if we want to get together or something once or twice a year, which is awesome. But outside of that, it's the meetups once a year in Tennessee. And then the rest of my time is spent working or figuring and planning stuff with my girlfriend now. And honestly, that's my priority though. Like I will openly admit that. Like I want to spend the time that I have with the person that I love. And I think Allie and Anthony would tell you the same thing. They love spending time together. They're best friends. Why would I not want to spend most of my time with my best friend?
And I want to say, in the last year, your story and your journey has been a roller coaster. But I'm so happy for you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It is nice when people see your struggle. So I do appreciate you that means a lot. I do appreciate that genuinely. I appreciate that. Um Marie says the struggle is real. A person can only take so much, months, years, and then I just can't anymore and shut out. I just autopilot. I've tried always. This is a big subject matter for me. Sorry to blow up, Chad. I've made a neighbor friend. They moved, made a girl buddy. She stopped texting, or I was just not enough, etc. Yeah, it's tough because I know Marie. She's at home with Gary, and Joe works 30 hours a day, and it's tough. So, and I'll tell you what. I guarantee you, if I asked Joe right now and I put him on the spot, because another thing that I don't think women quite realize for fathers, and I am not a father, but even just trying, I have already told Becca I want to be there for her kids, even though they are not my kids. And I don't want, my goal is to marry this woman someday. And I don't want to look back and say, I chose to work too much and not spend enough time with her kids or her. And I guarantee you, if I ask Joe right now, I bet he struggles every day with having to go to work and not see Gary enough until he gets home to put him to bed.
True. But as I said before, I never want my son to grow up like I did. So I will work as hard as I can for him to have a better life than I had. So I never want him to not have what he needs. And so because of that, I feel like, and even though I only see him not even an hour a day, probably 40 minutes a day. You know, he always, every time I open the door, he comes running to the door, brings me, he goes, oh, Marie will make cookies. He'll come running with a cookie for me, or he'll run over with a drink. And and then I ask him how his day was at school. He asked me how my day was. And then he takes off back to his room and he'll watch TV till he goes to bed. And then I'll read to him and stuff like that. But, you know, even though I'm never really home, he's never come to me and said, why aren't you there? He he I always feel like he understands, and because it's been like that since he's been born, you know, I feel like he doesn't know any better that things are different, that or could be different, and just understands that, daddy has to work, and he understands that. So I feel like, you know, I try, like I said, I always try to, on my days off, I try to bring him places and, you know, get him out of the house and stuff like that so I can have more time with him than at home. You know what I mean? So,
And that going out thing, I think that has more to do with you wanting to make sure he remembers the experience, even if he doesn't remember the why.
yeah. Because I feel like a lot of what he remembers more is when the times that we leave the house.
Yeah.
Like when we've gone to different places.
Which is good because you let him know that those are privileged things to do, and
Yeah,
he should enjoy the experience. So that's
he'll
good.
talk.
I mean,
He'll talk about those things for months, and
yeah.
those are the things that he remembers. He doesn't remember different things that happen at the house. Really, it's
Right.
those times that we go out, or he'll bring it. The rest of the day he'll be talking about it.
30 years
And
from now, he'll remember that. Kids
yeah,
Right.
aren't going to forget that. They'll be so grateful for those moments. And, it's funny, Nikki, you just said what you just said, because my sister recently told me when it was Christmas time and I was asking her what I could get her son and daughter, Rosalie and Benton. And she's like, they already have so many toys. And now being around Becca and everything, I'm like, yeah, kids have so many toys. It's ridiculous. Stop buying toys, please, people. But
Right.
my sister told me something. She said, you know what? People are starting to do more where instead of like getting people a gift, they are buying them an experience instead.
Right.
Like
Right.
a future experience. And I actually like that. And now hearing you say that, it makes sense. It clicks because my sister said it.
You can ask either one of my kids. Ask them what DZ is. They went twice their whole childhood, but they loved it.
Mhm.
Do you remember what it was, Bob? You were a kid during that time. Do you
DZ?
remember DZ?
No, what is DZ?
The Discovery Zone.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Do you remember that?
I don't, not really. No, we did different
My kids got to experience it twice, but by God, they talk about it still to this day. Like, oh man, I wish they still had those around for my kids. Da, da, da.
And that's the thing is, like, I tell Becca this all the time because she wants to take her kids to Disney at least one time and for the experience and everything. And my mom will remind me every once in a while. She's like, I hope you know, like she told us when we were kids, but even she'll say it now today, like, not so much, but she'll still occasionally say, like, I hope you realize, like, not every kid gets to go on as many vacations as we took you on. And now as an adult, I realize the sacrifices it takes. Some kids don't even say thank you. You're just excited, you love it, but you don't think to say, "Hey, thanks for taking me on this weekend." A 9-year-old doesn't realize that it cost the parent $5,000 and he had to work overtime, and you had to make sacrifices to make it happen. And you do it for the kids most of the time because you're not, you still enjoy it, but you're doing it for the kids' experience. And the thing is, kids don't understand that, especially at 9, 7, 8 years old. They don't understand that trip just cost your mom $10,000. And you know what I mean? And she had to work this and save that money for that. But kids don't understand that. But you do it because you love your kids and that experience, and they're never going to forget it when they get older.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what now. 2022, I think it was. Jeff and his wife took me to a music festival. Prior to going, when they decided that mom's going, we're doing this, let's have a good time, my daughter-in-law went out and found a cheap little camper that some guy was selling, a musical friend of theirs that travels to do his band stuff, and bought this little camper off of him so I didn't have to camp on the ground. And I watched that child spend money. I say child, she's 30 plus years old now. I watched her spend money on me that entire weekend, and every time I pulled money out of my pocket, she's like, nope, 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 nope. And as an adult, the appreciation that I felt for that week was just amazing, because I know what she had to stand on her feet and do to come up with the money that it took to just make that a fun weekend for me. And they go to that music festival quite a bit. I've kept the kids quite a few times for them to go, like maybe 4 or 5 times now. And they have a great time when they go, but I'm sure it was, I watched what she pulled out of her pocket. I watched the memorabilia she spent for her and him and myself, and the food and the drinks and it was such an experience that I never got to do. So, I mean, never stop doing fun things with your family, and always appreciate that time that it spent standing on somebody's feet to make the money to go and take you and do that thing, and teach that to your kids. You're right, they don't know it, so teach it.
I was going to
that.
say something that I did finally for my son, because he's older now, was something that I hate. I won't even say hate. I literally despise it. I finally brought him to the ocean and to go play in the waves and get in the water. I do not like the ocean. I don't like sand in my shoes. And I've said it before, I hate feet. I cannot stand feet. And to see a whole beach of naked feet is like, I rather jump into shards of glass. So for me to go to a beach, it takes a lot. And my son loved it. And did I hate it? Yes. But to see the smile and the laughter and the joy in his face meant everything to me. Regardless of me not like being there, it made it tolerable because of my son enjoying it. And I'll bring him again this year. Regardless of how I felt about it, it's something that he really enjoyed. And I haven't seen him get that excited about something. And he talked about it for over a month. That this year I'll do it again for him, just because it's something that he really loved, even though it's something that it's not for me. If it wasn't for my son, I would probably never do.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you do those sacrifices.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm gonna catch up with the chat. I'm pretty far behind here. Weeks go by and I don't hear from my mom. I miss her, and in losing her to memory loss, and it's been years. It's hard. I knew the subject would be hard. It just exploded in me, and I need to talk. And I hope you feel like that's a comfortable space and a safe place to be able to talk, Marie. Obviously with the chat and everything like that, but don't feel bad or apologize for opening up at all. Don't feel bad for that or apologize. Thank you, Johnny. I'm just done with a lot. Acceptance, thankful for these insightful streams, and I hope they help. I appreciate you, being here and supporting Joe and hanging out with us. Joe scratching makes me feel bad and like I'm not doing enough, even though cleaning gets done or laundry every day. I can relate, Marie, to the even though something's not your fault, feeling like it is. I think a lot of us take that on. We're always our own worst critic. Sometimes I won't say anything to him about scratching. I'll just rub his arm with a few fingers gently, and I'm sure he just knows what I mean. Is that peace, Joe, when she does that?
She does that for me to stop.
Okay. Does it feel good though? Kind of like, sometimes.
No, once her hand moves, I go right back to it, and I try to hide it.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, the scratching. Okay, I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anthony.
Sometimes I'll go to the other room.
It's Marie says, Anthony, thank you. Needed a laugh. Well, Anthony will leave that up to Anthony to do.
Oh yeah, with jerking off.
Yeah. A lot of times smoking, scratching, cutting, drinking, and things like that are distractions from the hardships of life. They can also be used as coping mechanisms for all of life's many stressors. Becca says, I love that advice so much, Nikki. We're all human. Mm-hmm. You can be alone while in a relationship. Totally agree. Nikki, what's up, Jess? Jess is in the chat.
Hey, Jess.
Yes, agree alone, but support each other.
I'll be right back while you read in the chat.
Agreed. Also, I'm totally a breakfast at night kind of guy. I just finished eating a bowl of cereal.
He had to have dessert.
You can't go wrong with Captain Crunch and berries, right? Breakfast at night. Well, that's new to me. Prince says. Okay, so I'm Bob's Instagram friend now. Proceeds to leave chat and cry myself to sleep. Didn't I name Johnny? Didn't I?
Johnny, you're nobody's Instagram friend. You're family, brother.
Yeah, I mentioned Johnny. I'll go back and watch the stream back. Drew's Movie Club is in the chat saying it's not easy to talk
Drew.
about the subject. A lot of courage. We try to, definitely want to do that on these streams and hopefully touch on that and all that stuff. Let's see here. Hi to Becca, Marie, and Jess. Okay, let me see. Catching up. Okay. Comments. All right. Where did I go? I lost my space. Oh boy. Okay. Jess says it's not for you to know what does Joe does for Gary. Bob, you can say you imagine, but you can't really understand. I can hear it in Joe's voice. I'm sure Marie can hear it too. Right, Marie? I know Joe just stepped away. I apologize. Hopefully I don't ever bother Joe or anything like that. Wasn't trying to hurt. I apologize. Becca says, hi, Anthony. Of course they don't realize they're still developing. The kids with the talking about, yep. April and I do the same for her dad. He sacrificed so much for her happiness when she was a kid. We both make damn sure he never had to pay for anything when we take him places. Yeah.
I mean, I just never knew that was a thing. Like, I never knew kids were going to grow up and pay for me to do something. I mean, come on now.
I am such a big fan of Johnny, April, and her and even their niece as well. They're when people like Adam have made me feel like family, even though I've never met the guy. And obviously, I met you and everything like that, but so many people on social media and Instagram have made us feel like family, and Johnny's one of them. Like his dad, I've never met him, or his father-in-law, I've never met him, but he treats me with such respect, and I appreciate it. I'm very grateful for it.
You can tell Johnny and April come from good people.
Yeah, for sure. Joe, I apologize if I overstepped or anything. Just one of Jess's comments, I just didn't want to. I apologize if I overstepped or anything like that.
I didn't hear nothing. Okay. I'm good.
Yes, I can hear it. He loves his time with Gary. I treasure watching them when I can, but people need to feel connected to one another. because no one needs to hear stop scratching all the time, so I do that. While Anthony was enjoying his breakfast for dinner feast, I was sipping on my cherry Sakura Red Bull. What is that? And Allie, you don't drink Monster, but you drink Red Bull. We're gonna have a talk
Ugh.
later about that. We'll be discussing that. We'll have a discussion.
Both are nasty.
Oh, how,
Amen.
you know,
I
Jeff?
cannot stand for an energy drink to even be cracked open in front of me. The smell just knocks me
Really?
down.
Jeff drinks
Yeah.
a day.
Only type of energy drink that I'll drink is like a Monster Java or Loco Moco. You know, it's got to be coffee flavored. Otherwise, no.
Oh, okay. I mean, I like cherry. I don't know what the rest of that is, but I'm not a Red Bull fan though. All right, 3 more comments. We are moving slow. We were moving fast in these comments in the chat, and the questions are moving along slowly. Hopefully you guys don't mind. Is your loneliness leading to depression or other issues? I'll take this one really quick. For me, I'll be honest with you, I don't struggle with the loneliness the same way I used to. It's more internal about doing it to myself now. And I was just recently telling Becca that I struggled with depression pretty badly. And Nikki, you remember that. Joe, we had conversations on the phone and stuff. And I was shut people out. I still struggle with my own battles and things I've done to put myself where I'm at, my past that, I'm making up for a lot of that. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but the depression is not the way it was before. I am actually at a pretty happy place in my life for the most part. And it is 99% because of the person that I met, you know what I mean? And I'm grateful for it because I was in a bad place before that. And even though, and I know Johnny and I have talked about this a little bit too, and Johnny's talked about it on live streams actually, of like struggling even though you won't say anything, or even though you're doing good, it's always there. It's always there. Like it's always there. And some
It's
days,
your friend that keeps you company.
yeah, some days are better than others. And I guess for me, it's just that it gets better when you do meet someone who can help you and just be there and be that peace, I guess. I think, Nikki, was it you who said it? I swear it was you who said you didn't realize that I think you said something along the lines of you didn't even realize that you needed joy and peace in your life.
Yeah.
You said something along those lines, or exactly that same thing. And
Those were not my goals. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. I said
yeah,
that.
and I guess for me, I didn't realize that I could be with someone that could give me that much peace and just comfort. Like, she came by today and I told her, like, when I am with her, that is my peace. It is, it's the facial expressions. It's watching her be silly or goofy or innocent or whatever it is. And it gives me peace. It gives me peace. And I always say this, I always tell her this: a woman's voice, or your woman's voice as a man, has so much power over you. Like what she says, her words have a lot of power. And me in particular, what Becca says has a lot of power over me. She has the power to destroy and also the power to have me want to run through a wall.
Right.
Sorry, I went on the whole little rant on that one, but
Rant away.
You guys go ahead with that one.
I would say for me, I think I'm the odd man out on this one, just for, as I already said in the stream. Me, I've never felt loneliness. I'm the type of person that I'm okay being alone. I've never felt loneliness. I've never in my life. Because of dealing with it pretty much being self-sufficient and so independent my whole life, I've never felt alone. I've always felt I just I put myself in whatever is around me. So I never, maybe I just never um, pretty much s- sit by myself to get alone, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah.
I, I've always put myself into work or into music or into movies or, something. I've always found something to keep my mind moving. So I've never felt alone. I don't I don't need people to feel not alone because I've never, as I said, I've never relied on anybody. I'm the type of person that I'm easy to cut anybody off, and I don't, because I've always felt my whole life that I don't need anybody. I could do anything on my own. So because of that, I never felt that loneliness from people. So I don't know. I guess I'm just weird in that fashion. You know, sometimes for me, sometimes I just need, and Marie knows that sometimes I just need my alone time. Just
Your space
to,
gets too crowded because you're used to it just being you.
yeah, I'm so used to for all my life of just me being by myself and with nobody. Sometimes I need to decompress
Yep.
and I just need to be with nobody else around me and I just need to decompress and, you know, try to get out of my head sometimes, you know, because of my limited time, because my job is so stressful. And, I have Marie here and I have my son. A lot of times my decompression is my 23-minute drive home and my 23-minute drive to work. And while I'm in the shower, that's my pretty much the only alone time I have every day. And those parts of the day, I just try to decompress. I never try to bring work home. I don't bring home to work. I try to keep everything separate in my life. And even people at work sometimes look at me and go, "You never look stressed." A, I'm good at hiding it. And B, something what Nikki said earlier about, the medical field and everything else. Something I've always lived my life on is I never stress about anything that I cannot control. If I can't control it, I don't stress about it. My my life is too complicated to stress about anything I can't control. That's why a lot of times, without getting into Marie's business, sometimes I talk to Marie and she'll talk to me about different things. I'm like, Marie, it's nothing you can control. You got to let it go. You just got to, worry about Gary, worry about this. Don't worry about that stuff. It's just you can't control it. It's if those people don't want to be in your life and not talking to you, you got to let it go regardless because there's nothing you can do to control it. You've said your piece, nothing has changed. Stop stressing on it because it's out of your hands. Sometimes you got to be able to cut the umbilical cord and move on. You can't sweat stuff that you can't control in your life. And it's something that I live by because everybody in their life has a lot that they deal with. You're always, as I always say, I'm always spinning a ton of plates.
Yep.
And I worry about the plates I can grab. Plates that are not near me, it's just like I'm just gonna let them fall, and I'm not even gonna look back because my number one concern, as I said, my island is what's in this house, and anything else, I don't. It doesn't bother me. You know, if people leave, and it is what it is. You know, I'm not going to stress about that stuff because I can't control it.
Right.
So those are the things that I deal with, and like I said, there's times that I just, you know, there's times Marie goes to bed, I stay up and I'll watch a movie. Sometimes I'm watching a movie. Sometimes I'm just trying to get out of my head and think about, you know, different things and think about, you know, different things I got to take care of and this, that, and the other thing and trying to figure out how I'm going to do it all. And it's just, or if I'm showering, I'll, you know, I'll be in there and I'm just trying to think, or while I'm driving home. It's the times that I have to myself, and I try to make the best of that to get out of my own brain sometimes because I need that. I need that alone time sometimes just to be with myself. It's just how I function because of being by myself my whole life that I didn't rely on anybody. I need sometimes that time with my brain to figure things out on my own.
Organized thoughts.
Yeah, prioritize.
Yeah.
Nikki, how about you?
Well, we talked about depression before, and I will say that when we started these streams, this was all a brand new journey. I will say that I hope this doesn't turn into depression. I find myself living a lot quieter than I was before, and I'm hoping that I don't internalize that into something bad because I have done that before. My goal this time is to just reflect, forgive myself, and be able to do whatever I'm capable of doing when it's done. That's all. Not put myself in a you have to get back to this and you have to get back to that and you have to. I don't want to live like that anymore because I think that would lead me into a worse depression. So, has it been a struggle? Yes, but I'm working really hard right now not to be depressed. I have days. It's up and down, but
I hope the streams don't make things worse. I hope they only help, obviously. You know, the
if it made it worse, I'd call you after it was over and be like, "Look, bitch, we're not doing this to me no more." No.
It doesn't. I was gonna say it doesn't make anything worse for me. I just me talking about it just it sometimes it puts into perspective things that I didn't think about. There's times, a lot of times after these streams that, as I said, driving to work the next day with my thoughts, sometimes things come into my head that I never thought about before that I had like an epiphany on the stream that it's like, now I know why this, that, and the other thing, or blah, 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 or maybe why I do things like this. So, you know, that and I've always, when I talked to Bob, I think this is when one of the first times I ever talked to Bob, and this was years ago, when me and Bob just started talking. I think we talked on DMs one time. The reason why I did all of this is so maybe if people are going through what I went through, or, you know, I wanted to just, if I can help anybody in any kind of a way of going through the things that I've gone through, and if people are going through those things, because you never know what people are going through, that, you know, that there's always a brighter side to different things.
Joe, I think that you and Nikki in particular, not to say I'm not helping, but I feel like the things that you and Nikki touch on help a lot of people, and a lot of what you guys say. I will piggyback on that, and I will say that for me, it was always about wanting to make a difference, which is why we started this. But I talked about how I think it would help us to be able to open up and then help other people. But here I am, the one who every time I go live and I stream, I'm like getting something out of it from somebody else. And I will go back to it a lot, but I'm genuine about it. If I say something, I mean it. And what Anthony said, and maybe it wasn't a big deal to some and it was common sense to others. I don't know, but I guess it is. Maybe it is like the death by 1,000 cuts. I feel like I've heard that before. But the way Anthony described it in that moment on that stream, it opened up my eyes. It was one of the most not informative things that I heard. I'm one of those people. I sit and think about what people say. Sometimes I agree with it, sometimes I don't. That's just life. If somebody tells me, says something about me, I'll sit there and be like, I agree. Maybe I was hurt, but maybe it's true, right? Like if somebody says you're an asshole or something, it's like maybe they're right. Maybe I was being an asshole. What my point I'm getting to though is that what Anthony said, like I have applied that outside of these streams. Like I have worked to address what Anthony said, which was the death by 1,000 cuts. And so now when I get those cuts, I try to address them. And unfortunately, recently it bled out, like you said, Nikki, is the stress just kind of got to me. But I am doing my best. At least I'm aware of something that I wasn't aware of before until Anthony said it.
Right.
And so it helps to at least be mindful of it. Even if I'm not perfect at it, I am working to do what Anthony brought up. So I am grateful for these streams because of the things that you guys say and all that stuff. I learn from it.
I don't feel like they do. As a matter of fact, if I felt uncomfortable, I wouldn't come back and do them. Like I don't stream on the internet. I don't, I do this to hang out with you guys and maybe learn something myself. Just because I'm probably the oldest one here, and I feel like I might have something to contribute, but my quest is to learn until I die. Every day is a different experience, and I want to learn always. So if I can give something back by sitting here and making a comment or giving an insight or an experience that helps somebody else see something or revolutionizes something in somebody's brain here's what I've learned from these streams that I think has been most beneficial to me. I hear you guys talking about all the things that men go through, this, that, and the other. Because my tables are turned and I've been the breadwinner for several years now, I kind of feel like I see things from that side a lot. But I also still see it from the other side, the stay-at-home person, the build the home person, the person that builds the relationship from the emotional side, whereas the men build the relationship from the provider side. Like there is two different buckets there of which you're dipping out of. And when I leave these streams, I always feel like I've gotten an insight from your perspective from that. And Bob, you know, you're younger than my youngest child, so I can't even say that the things that you're going through, I don't have insight to, because obviously you call me, you ask me questions, we discuss lots of different things, and and I do feel like I advise you sometimes on things that I might not know about because I'm a girl. But it's the fact that you respect the experience I've had, and you always give me something back, even if it's the appreciation of when you say to me the smallest thing as, thanks for answering the phone today, because I know you needed me to. On the days that I miss your call, I'm just like, well, I hope you didn't need me today, because
I
because
I
I
genuinely
want to be there for you.
I genuinely do appreciate it, because there are moments where I need to learn. I talk about the men thing and what it's like to be a man, but I don't know what women. It helps when you talk about certain things, that whether it's being emotional or the kids, all that stuff, like you were in the boat of like marrying somebody when you had kids and he had kids. So like all of the stuff that I am trying to learn and make sure I am there for Becca properly, you've like been there, done that, literally. And you're a woman, so you see it from her perspective. And you guys are both emotional, and you said that. And so it I need that guidance and knowledge from you. And I think it would be silly to think that you could just figure everything out on your own. There is nothing wrong with asking for help or getting advice from other people or reading a book or anything about anything. We need help.
Right.
And, there are times I do. And if I didn't care, I wouldn't ask. But I do when I want to be a good boyfriend, and so it's important to me. And if it wasn't important to me, I wouldn't even bother asking you. I wouldn't care.
Well, and that's just so everyone understands. Friendship doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter in a friendship, or experience doesn't matter in a friendship. It's whether or not you give a shit enough about somebody to be there for them, listen to them, maybe talk them down off a ledge sometimes. And so that's what I appreciate about my friendship with you, because yeah, you've called me for advice, but I mean, I've literally like broken down my whole life to you, and like that little sobbing BS I did earlier for the world to see here on the internet. I've put you on the spot, dude, on the phone, where you didn't even know what to say. You couldn't even take a breath because I was sobbing and crying and telling you my life business. And like, I don't have that with a lot of people. Like, I have a few people I could do that to, but in that moment, it, for whatever purpose God made that be you that day, I needed that in every way. So I don't care that you're younger than my children. I don't care that you're a young, partially single guy. Like, you're not, you're committed. You're just not married yet. I'm an old married lady, been doing this for 30 years come June. And it's like, that doesn't mean that you don't have something to offer people. So that's why I do these streams with you, because I might sit here and be quiet most of the time. But if I say something, it's like I told my husband the other day, because of course he's called me out for being quiet, being quieter than for 30 years. I've tried for a long time to make everything that I say, if I'm going to bother to open my mouth and say anything, it needs to have a meaning or a purpose. In Otherwise, why am I spewing out or bleeding out on somebody else anything that I have to offer? But if I can touch on something for somebody that gives them a perspective or a hope or anything at all, other than where you were last summer, I want to be that friend that picks up the phone. I want to be that person that, you know, has that perspective or that insight for you when you need it. It might not even be the right words at the right time, but I think I've done pretty well of giving you pretty good advice. So we're on a roll. I'm gonna stick
Yeah.
with it.
I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, and Joe and I have done, this whole every week swapping a different movie to watch. It gave Joe and I a reason. Like, no matter what, we talk at least once a week, whether it's for
Right.
5 minutes or 5 hours or a couple times a week. There's always a minimum of once a week. And yes, it's fun to watch a movie and pick a movie and all that stuff, but it became more than that. And my point I'm getting to, though, is you never know what someone's going through. Um, and you never know the impact or difference you can have or make on someone.
Right.
And so for me, like in the middle of the night, I always leave my phone on, and everyone's different. I won't wake up to a text, but a phone call I always wake up to. And I've gotten phone calls. Like my dad once called me at like 3:30, 4 in the morning, was like, we got to talk. Like a lot's going on. I need to meet up. This was years ago. We met up at IHOP at like 4 in the morning, had breakfast. And in I had a buddy call me, just needed to talk. It was like 3 in the morning a couple months ago. Like if it's a text, I feel like it's not important enough. I don't wake up to that. But a phone call I will. And I don't ever, like, even if I don't have the time of day, I always try to answer the phone, because you never know why somebody's calling. But I've been guilty. Like yesterday when I was going through a lot, a buddy of mine called me, and I was like, I'm sorry, I can't talk. I'm busy. And I wasn't. I just was just in a bad headspace. And so I try to make sure I am available, because you don't know. Maybe somebody just wants to talk. Maybe they really need to talk. Maybe it could be whatever, but you just never know. And you never know the impact you can have. You never know just answering a phone call what it can do.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna catch up with the chat here. We've got Marie saying, I have allergies, Bob. Don't put me in the corner for no Monster. Is it just Monster, or can you drink other energy drinks? Joe, do you know?
She has 5 different allergies, so
Oh,
it's very little of what she can do, because she's
okay.
corn, wheat, nuts, sulfur, and corn, wheat, nuts, sulfur. I think it's those are the main 4. So almost anything she can't eat.
I just like teasing about Red Bull, because Jeff and I, your son Nikki,
Yeah.
I will send him reels of somebody drink. It's like somebody drinking a Red Bull, and like he'll knock it out of the person's hand and give him a Monster. And I'm
Are you
like,
kidding?
I'm
For
like,
the weekend that he's going to meet up with you, he's already driving around picking out flavors and getting his stuff together. I know about the Monster.
yeah, because I told him if he drinks a Red Bull in Tennessee, I'm gonna knock it out of his hand. How is Alani? I've heard of Alani, Ellie. I'm just curious on that one. Coffee all the way. The Turing smell and energy drinks makes
That's
me.
right.
I hate coffee.
Coffee.
That's so funny. Her dad is only nice to Bob because April is threatened to put him now. Maybe he didn't.
Oh,
Oh gosh, darn it, Johnny. Same, Alex. Coffee all day for me too. I spent a lot of time alone before I met Anthony, and because it was the norm, I never thought I was that lonely, but I definitely was. Having Anthony by my side every day makes me feel so at peace. And I saw that comment, and it put a smile on my face. I absolutely love that comment. Allie doesn't talk a whole lot in the chat, but she's listening and she's watching. But when she does speak, like, you listen, you know what I mean? And I just really appreciate that. I appreciate that comment in particular. It's so funny because in a lot of ways, Anthony and Allie are completely different, but in a lot of ways,
oh, they're polar opposites, but they're so great together.
yeah, and they're so similar in like movie taste and everything. But as far as like Anthony just being one-liners and not afraid to just come out with the most like out of left field stuff, like Allie wouldn't be doing that. It's great though. It's funny.
It's like Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. For me, I never got to be getting the dextrose. Nah, I managed to control my my loneliness. Kept myself busy by entertaining myself, turning thoughts into songs.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Well,
Music heals.
I need someone we can talk to. I mean, people also thrive in loving relationships. I never ask him why he stays up every weekend. On the weekend, I go to bed early and just stay. And I actually kind of like, in a strange way, I can appreciate that. Because I talk about like Becca goes to sleep earlier than I do, so when I'm there, like maybe she'll go to bed and I'll watch a movie. So similar to Joe right there, you know. Sometimes you just need that alone time or decompress or whatever it is, like Joe said. In the bedroom for him. I'm okay, Jay. I'm done chasing people. I get it. I'm taking care of the two in my life I live with, Gary and Joe. I try to be a better version of myself from one day to the next. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't, but it's the pursuit of becoming a better version that makes the journey worthwhile.
That's it.
Over there. Anthony says, "Hey, I'm glad that what I said could impact you in such a positive way, Bob. That makes me very happy." And I'm genuine, like when I say that. Haywood Franklin. How would Franklin feel about your journey, Johnny?
Oh, Bob, it's too bad you couldn't do videos and you couldn't just clip them both in there doing a Franklin voice real quick after that.
I know I'm not paying for it again. StreamYard, so the handicap emoji. Nikki, don't apologize. Yeah, I won't bring no Red Bulls. They're too expensive to be wasted.
He said he ain't spending money on that shit.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, the streaming though. I did have a lot of fun and people enjoyed the game night when we did it, and I had a lot of fun with it. I think it was fun. Um, and I would love to get back to that. I have a very busy next like 6 months, a lot of traveling, a lot of planning. Um, I was telling Becca, like I do want to go back to streaming, but with StreamYard's prices and these other streaming services, like StreamYard is so easy and intuitive
Right.
and interactive, and it's just very easy to use. And it's just unfortunate. It's $45 a month, and if you're not gonna stream enough, that's just a waste of money. It's like talking about his Red Bulls. Like you can't pay $45 for something and not use it if you don't have the time. So it's something
Right.
I really want to, and I can't just do a game night once a month because I can't pay for it, you know, and then just cancel and keep doing that. So it's frustrating. I want to bring it back at some point. I might. I'm thinking about, you know, when Black Friday rolls around, if they do a discount or something, maybe trying to pay for it. So yeah, I won't bring no Red Bulls. They're too expensive to be wasted. Anthony and Allie are like yin and yang.
That's it.
Yin and yang. All right, two more questions. How often do you feel lonely, and what makes you most lonely? For me, I don't feel lonely much anymore. And what makes me feel lonely now, there are times I think when I'm alone at my apartment, while I enjoy that time, it can still be a bit lonely at times because now I'm in a healthy relationship with someone who has 3 kids. So now I know what it's like to be there. And so when I'm not, it can get a tad bit lonely. But it's not like a bad lonely. It's just I miss them kind of thing more so than anything.
Yeah, that was going to be my answer. Like last night after everybody left, and it was funny because Jeff worked a little late, and of course, Bree and the kids got here a couple hours before him, and we ate our dinner, and then he came, and then at the end of the night, when it was time to leave, the kids wanted to ride home with him, but he wanted to hang out and talk a few more minutes, and in that last few moments when he was getting ready to leave and we were just trying to have 5 minutes of just Jeff and I got a lonely feeling knowing he was about to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's not like he's not just a few minutes away and I can go, see him, whatever. We're busy at this point, and these next 6 weeks are going to be extremely busy, and I'm not going to get to see much of him at all. But knowing that was my 5 minutes, him getting ready to leave, that lonely feeling came over me. So yes, that And do
Nikki,
I miss the kids living here? No, I don't really miss them living here, as like I used to. I want them here. I want them here all the time, but
not living with
it's,
you. Nikki, I said to Becca today, I said, the hardest part about you coming out is when you have to leave. I said, knowing that it ends every time, like even that Airbnb going to Wisconsin, knowing that ends, you know what I mean? When it has to end, knowing that, damn, this is my favorite person to hang out with. And 6 minutes from now, or in 2 hours from now, you're already like dreading that. You know what I mean? You're like, it's gonna end. It sucks, and you get that lonely feeling. Yeah.
and it was great. Like I had a great time with her and the kids here, before he got here, and it was great when he got here. We all sat around and just, dude, I've always told my kids I don't care about what we have to eat. It's whatever. It's not the bread we break, it's the breaking of the bread. And so they were supposed to come on Saturday. We had a change of plans and things didn't happen right on Saturday. I didn't get to see him on Sunday. Jeff works a hell of a shift on Sundays every week. And then, so it was Monday before we ever even got together. So by the time we got all together, and I'm just, trying to get every moment, every satisfaction out of every single moment while they're here. And, knowing that the kids haven't been able to have a sleepover or anything like that in a few months, and it's going to be a few more months before we can go back to normal, it's like eating up those moments kind of makes me a little bit lonely because I know they're, like you said, going to end shortly. So.
Mm-hmm. Joe, what about you?
As I said before, I don't get lonely, and nothing really makes me lonely. Do I miss? Yes. There's times that I miss things or I miss people, but loneliness, no. Like I said, I've never felt lonely, and nothing gets me like that. Like the times that I was working 4 days a week and my son left for school, I missed him, but was I lonely because he wasn't here? No. But, I that's how I feel about that. I've never really felt lonely. If I have, I don't know what that feeling is. 'Cause like I said, I'll miss people, similar to like what Bob said or what Nikki said, that when somebody leaves, I'll miss that they're going to be leaving, but I don't get lonely because of it.
Mm-hmm. Well said, man. Allie and I compliment each other very well. And Jeff says, I always cherish my 5 minutes with you, Mom.
Me and Jeff are very close. I mean, obviously you guys know that, but I mean, when you have kids when you're a kid, you just be close with your kids. I mean, they learn who you are, whether you want them to or not, because you're growing up in front of them, whether you want to be or not.
I love that. I do. I appreciate that so much. For sure, Anthony. When Anthony and I were dating long distance, it would always start to dawn on me towards the end of the trip that I had to leave him soon, and it was so hard to not be super sad about it. Exactly. It's impossible not to look ahead at it ending because you know it's going to end. Even though you are loving every second of it, it's ending. It eventually has to end, and she has to go back home. And now she lives with him. It doesn't have to do that, but I get that. I it's so relatable. So relatable. It sucks. Do you have people that you can count on? This is the final question of the night. So Johnny giving me a hard time saying I have family and everything like that. For me, yes, absolutely. Now I have Becca, and that is my biggest support system. And it is really all I need, but I have such a good support system. I don't talk to my other friends as much. I don't probably not as close or talk to Tony nearly as much as I used to, and Joe and Adam and so on and so forth. But I know that like I have Jeff, I have Johnny, Joe and I are going to talk every week. Nikki, you and I will always be close. Tony and I, like Tony will always be there as a friend, no matter how bad of a friend I've been to him. Like he's always that guy, you know what I mean? And so I am grateful for the people that I have in my life and what they do for me and everything like that. How about you?
I've definitely found out that I have more people that I can count on than I thought I had. So yeah, I seen a meme today that was a quote from Robert Downey Jr. and he said, "Go broke, get sick, find out who your friends are." And that's the absolute truth.
That is good. Go broke, get sick. Yeah. That is the truth. That is good. Joe, what about you, man?
I was people I can count on. Pretty much Marie and 2 other people on this stream.
Appreciate that, man.
Amen, brother.
I keep it less than a handful.
Yeah. You know what? I don't think that's wrong. I am right there with you, man, most of the time. And I don't think that's wrong at all. Honestly, I think some people have 100 friends, but how many of those 100 friends can you really count on? So
yeah, I don't talk to people really.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of a keep to myself kind of person. I've always been like that. Until when I started doing YouTube 9 years, almost 10 years ago, it's the reason I did it was to talk to people because I honestly felt like, and it wasn't loneliness, I just felt like I was losing my mind, kind of. I just needed to talk, and so just to have some type of interaction. I don't think it wasn't loneliness. It was just I just wanted to talk and share experiences. But as I did that, I made a lot of acquaintances. But as I said, I keep everybody an arm's distance away. It's just my nature. It's anybody who gets close to me, it's rare. I'm better off shitting a diamond because I don't let nobody get close to me. So if you can get close to me, you're, it's I really trust that person, and it doesn't happen if I could probably count on not even 2 hands how many people have gotten that close to me in my life. I'm not that type of person. It takes a lot, for me to let anybody in. It's just how I am. My shell is so thick. So I'm just, I don't know, because of living my life by myself. I just deal with everything on my own. It's hard to let anybody to have a friend even that close. I don't do it. That's why I've even said to Marie, even on these streams, probably I would say for the most part, most people know me 70%. Probably if you took like the 8 people that I've trusted the most, you would probably get 80% of me, but there's still 20% that I've never told anybody, and I would probably never tell anybody. It's just I don't you know, there's a lot of things that I just, to this day, I could never talk about that I would pretty much take to the grave with me. It's just, I'm just not that type of person. Sometimes, like I said, everybody knows a little bit about me, but nobody will ever know all of me. It's just, it's that coping mechanism that keeps me sane. As you said, I never let anybody get close enough to hurt me.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
protective mechanism.
Perfect example, because Bob can relate. NF, how he says in Mansion, the door that he always keeps closed because he never wants anybody to hurt him. I'm the same way. There's things in that room that nobody will ever get to, and I'll never share because it's things that I will never let anybody hurt me with. So, like I said, that's how I cope with things.
I'm gonna catch up with the chat, and then we can figure out our next stream. I'm gonna give you guys two options, and yeah, and then we could do that. So let's see here. I got a lot of comments right now. Let me catch up with it here. Okay. It's awesome how close Nikki and Jeff are. They're best friends, and I love that when he said best friends. Oh, I have plenty, including you three. Appreciate that, Prince. And April has already announced that Bob has replaced me as her bestie. And you better believe it, Johnny. Don't you forget it. I'm glad that Joe has his lovely lady Marie and awesome son to bring him comfort and support every day. Yes,
right.
Anthony, I'm a mama's boy, no shame. Bob, on other news, you better pray. I love Cruel Intentions. Damn, Mizzy really went that route for our swap. Nice. I love Cruel Intentions. Tony recently watched that, but he did not like it. And now Bob has Becca to show him love every day. Yes, I do.
That's good.
Joe, loved your Taylor Swift pickups. I was blushing while rolling on my bed. I'm very proud of you. Yeah, I'm a mama's boy too, dude. My mom and I hang out all the time. Yeah, I think they went to go see Scream 7 with Anthony's mom, I'm pretty sure. So that's really cool. I love seeing that. I think that's awesome. Thank you, Anthony. Someone has to make sure he packs snacks for work or pack.
I'm horrible at taking care of myself.
That's true. Snacks are essential. I know we're not close, Joe, but I'm happy to have got to know who you are. You've been solid to me.
Thanks, Jeff.
That's awesome, Anthony. Hell yeah. I actually asked Becca if she'd ever pack my lunch, and she's like, occasionally, yeah. I was like, oh hell yeah. Okay, two questions. So here are the movies and the topics. So we can discuss pain, which doesn't have to be physical pain, it can be emotional pain. With this movie, it's more so this. I just want to talk about this movie so fucking badly. I would kill for you guys both to watch this movie. It's Journeyman. It is about a boxer. Joe, it's the same director of the one you recommended that one day. Was it Hippopotamus or something like that?
Yeah, hippopotamus.
Yeah, or try Tyrannosaurus or something like that. You have
Tyrannosaurus.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have all the animal names.
Yeah.
Becca,
Tyrannosaurus, then hippopotamus, then elephant.
yeah, Becca was actually laughing and she was saying it. Yeah, so Paddy Constantine is the director of it, and he's also the star in it. He's a boxer who, I don't want to spoil it, but it's a boxing movie, but it's more about emotional pain recovery. You could talk about recovery when you talk about this movie.
Just buy a wood chipper, Bob. I'll just drive up and throw me in it. I mean, you just drag me through it, make me cry again.
Oh, this one was heavy. The movie's heavy. Or we can talk about family and talk about the movie Instant Family, or Wonder Works as well. I was thinking Instant Family. So I'll leave it up to you guys and maybe the chat. Do you want to talk about pain and talk about Journeyman, or would you guys want to go down the road of rabbit hole of talking about family and talking about the movie Instant Family? What are you guys feeling?
Either one.
I've seen either one, so I'm good with whatever y'all want to do.
I saw Instant Family. I've never seen the other one. Never even heard of it.
Yeah,
so I'm good with either one.
Yeah, I don't know how easy it is to find Journeyman. That could be but I'm sure it's on Prime or something like that for you, Joe. Let me check. It's a heavy movie. Hip hop anonymous.
That was a good movie.
Big Daddy or hippopotamus?
Hippopotamus.
Which
I know you
wait,
didn't like it. I liked it.
oh, that one. Oh gosh. Okay. Let me check to see if Journeyman is on anything because it's really hard to find. Is that even it? No, that's not it. See, I can't even find it on Prime Video. Jeez, because that's not the right movie. Oh, I don't know. It could be hard to find.
The movie doesn't even exist, Bob.
They get out of here with that. It's and Tony actually bought it on Blu-ray, and I told him I wanted him to watch it so badly, so he ended up watching it. So I can watch it early before I can catch this next stream. I might, if you guys think, Nikki, you have your ways of watching stuff, right?
I mean, I can probably figure it out.
I'm sure it's got a DVD. I hope. Let me see here. Otherwise, Journeyman DVD.
I mean, it's probably something Dean's carries. I should go in there and see all the crazy stuff he has in there.
It's got a DVD, at least in the UK, for $10.82 on eBay. It's not a
So it only has a region B.
Yeah. You don't have region free player, or no? I gave you the region free player.
It's still in the box in my closet. I still haven't unpacked it. It could have came in 12 pieces, and I wouldn't even know.
Yeah, it's only got This is a hard
Jeff
one.
said in the chat that Journeyman isn't even available for digital purchase anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to order it.
Thanks a lot, Bob. Jesus.
You'd have to order it on eBay and have a region free player.
It doesn't even come. It doesn't even. Is Journeyman one word or two?
It's one word. The hard part will be for Anthony and Ellie to get a hold of this one. However, I have a website.
Yeah, what's going to happen is everybody's going to go and buy a copy, and then there's going to be the movie's going to go up to like $80 because they're like, oh my God, something's going on because everybody wants this movie now.
Oh, God.
And then the movie's gonna suck, and then they're gonna have
get rid of.
Yeah, there's literally one copy on eBay for sale.
No,
there's one copy, Bob.
Rare Waves Import is selling.
Oh no, here's another one for $8.
$8.04.
And then $20.
Rare Waves is pretty good. It includes import fees. That's included. It's free shipping, and it's only $8.04 if you have a region free player.
Okay, so there's only 3 they have it on Blu-ray for $34, and it's region B.
I have a website.
And it's located in the US with the slip.
Oh yeah, that's a tough one to get. That's very expensive. The Journeyman.
It's $33, and it's in the US with $6 shipping. Blu-ray with the slipcover.
$32.95. That's the one Tony didn't want to get, so Tony paid more because the slipcover looks like it's warm.
Oh gee, just throw it in a freaking fire.
Oh my gosh, you did that already.
I know I did. That would have been the perfect time for me to go fire like Tom Hanks.
Becca, if you're still listening to this, you need to watch the video of Joe throwing all of these slip covers in a bonfire fire pit.
And a lot of out of print slip covers.
Yeah, no, it's not
the hate that I got. I was waiting. If people knew where I lived, I would have got pitchforks at the house.
It is
right.
It is not. It is not the Western at all. And here, I am going to get in big trouble.
So are we going with the other film now, or are we going with Journeyman?
We go with Journeyman. And to anyone who can't find it, here is a website. I really like this website. It'll take you right to the movie, and is
it on Uno Dos Tres?
Not 1, 2, 3 movies. No, It's there's also F movies out there too that works. Just to think of all the naked Blu-rays on my shelf. Look, the movie code.
So you pretty much gotta hook up a laptop to your TV to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. I hook up my laptop to the HDMI cable.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I 123 movies is not in apps that you can download
He's
or
got
F movies.
Movie Box 2 works as well. I didn't even know that one. F Movies is a good one. I don't know if M4U is still around. There's so many websites. And look, some people can get on and say, oh, pirating and bootlegs or whatever. You know what? For me, movies like Journeyman, that movie destroyed me. It hit hard. And I'm sometimes movies are hard to get. And you know what? If I have to stream it through a website and hook it up to my laptop and then my TV, I have no issues doing that. And anybody who wants can make me feel as bad as they want, and I won't feel anything because I do not care.
I will agree with that, Bob.
I love this. Prince says, yeah. Bob over here teaching people to sail the high seas.
We're all
I was gonna
pirates around
say,
here.
when it comes to bootlegs, I bought this movie. If anybody's ever seen it, it's a bootleg, and it is one of the hardest movies to find because it's a made-for-TV movie. If anybody has ever seen it, it is brutal, and it's No Child of Mine.
No, they haven't seen that. Now, I've got a question.
The only
Nick,
person I know that's seen it is Caprice.
yeah, Bob said, sell me the fucking film or I'll sail the seas. Look, and I'll pay for it. I'm actually tempted to get the $32.95 one with the slipcover.
Well, it's bullshit the way they do these streaming sites now anyway. I mean, honestly, like you used to be able to go and find a movie made by the company and on their website. Now it's all over the damn place. You're gonna have to pay through the nose to watch something. It's stupid. It's
Yeah.
like, give me Blockbuster any night of the week.
Nikki, you use some websites, right?
I have. I've used that one you posted up.
Okay, cool. So you'll find a way to watch Journeyman.
Yeah, I might have to ask you to send me the link again, but
Okay, yeah, that's not a big deal. You don't have a region-free player though, right?
no, Jeff does. Bree bought him one for Christmas.
Okay, if worst case comes to it, I will send the movie to Jeff and you can go over there and watch it then. I know I'm asking a lot of you, but I'll give you the website if you need it to watch it. I have no issue.
Good.
Joe, let me know if you need a website or if you need a DVD. You got a region-free player, so I could send it whatever I need to do.
I got it.
And I'm curious if, because I know Anthony and Allie love to watch the movies, so I'm curious if Anthony and Allie have a region-free player. Otherwise, they might struggle to watch this one. I'm super curious.
It's only going to be us three that watches it.
Yeah, my favorite thing is when I'm in the middle of watching a show and they move it to a different streaming service. Yeah. What'd you say, Joe?
I said it'll only be us three watching it.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, nobody will know what we're talking about. Hopefully, Anthony and Ellie have a region-free player.
I was going to say that happened to me on what Jeff just talked about happened to me on Prime. Me and Marie were watching a show. We've watched 2 episodes. And then the next day we went to put it on and they put the whole thing that you had to buy it. And I'm like, you bastards. I was so pissed. And I'm like, I just started this show. I got 2 episodes in. And then they put the whole thing that you had to buy it. And I was pissed. I'm like, F that show. I'm not watching it now.
You know what? Prince said, good luck, have fun, don't die is now on my source. Let's go. I was tempted by that movie.
Which one?
Good luck, have fun, don't die.
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's got like Sam Rockwell, I think, in it.
I like Sam Rockwell.
I do too. I'm a big fan of Sam Rockwell.
Oh my goodness, Bob! Since I just Sam Rockwell watched an interview. I don't know where it was. If I find it again, I will share it with you. But Shia LaBeouf talking about when he was going through rehab. Mel Gibson and Sam Rockwell and a bunch of these guys got together and kind of kept him sober and kept him. It's a good interview. If I find it again, I'm going to share it with you. I meant to share it with you when I was watching it and totally got sidetracked and just listening and doing other things and forgot. But it's a good one. Look for it.
Mm-hmm. I am. Yeah. Here, let me see here. I'm gonna, if I can help anyone who wants to watch the movie, if you have a region free player, I'll send you the DVD for $9. I don't care. I would gladly do that. So Journeyman is basically, it says a boxer suffers a serious head injury during a fight and must deal with the consequences. So it's all about emotional pain and stuff like that. But he has a kid and a wife and everything like that. So yeah. It's a good one. Anthony, do you have a region free player by any chance? Because a region free Blu-ray player would play a region free DVD player, DVD, right, Joe?
I don't know.
I would assume. I can't.
A lot of the region free players play both.
Yeah.
Will play DVDs and Blu-rays.
Bob said it's so good, I'll buy it for anyone and everyone. I trust it. If they're gonna watch it, I would do it because $9 ain't that bad. If there's only like 10 people in the street and 2 of them live together, so I'm not too worried about it. And Prince doesn't need to worry about it because he's got his websites and all that stuff. And yeah, but and half the people, I know some people don't always get around to the movie. I do not have a region free player, sadly. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, region free Blu-ray players plays DVDs too. Okay, cool. Oh boy, do we need to pivot? I'm gonna find a way to get it to Anthony and Allie. And I was thinking I need a region free player. I miss not being able to watch some great releases out there in the import world. Yeah, I will figure out, like I said, if you need a website to watch it. Movie Hunter, I know sometimes you want to watch the movie. Allie and Anthony, I don't know if you guys use those websites, but I have so many of them. So if it takes that to get you guys to watch it, I will do whatever it takes. I just can't buy a region free player for you. Sorry. I'm not that rich at all. But yeah, no, I think we'll stick with Journeyman. I think it's a good one. I hope everybody can watch it. I will do whatever I can to help people get a chance. It's a lot of it is I want people to watch this movie because I do think it's really powerful and there's a lot to be said and an important message in it. So, and I want to have a discussion on it. I really do. I think I've been dying to talk about this movie. When I watched it, I was like, shit, this movie is so heavy. I can't not talk about this. So I've held it in long enough. It's my time. It's my time. I'm talking about it. So, all right. That is all for tonight. Like I said, save that website. Hit me up on Instagram if you have trouble. I will give you plenty of websites to be able to watch the movie. I will do whatever I can. I'll send the DVD if you have a region free player. I don't care. So let me know. Anthony, Allie, we're going to make sure you guys get a chance to watch it. We'll talk about the date, potentially April 7th, maybe. I know that's, about a month away, so maybe that could be a date, but we'll discuss it. So, and we'll figure it out. And that's that.
All right.
Yep. I'm just going to freeze here and sit here. And and then maybe I'll beg Johnny to be a guest and he can open him up about all of his pain and emotional pain. I'll put him on the spot. Oh, jeez, poor Johnny. I love Johnny. Anyways, that's all. I will once it gets later, I get slap happy. So I'm gonna end this. Everybody have a great night. Thank you for being here. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart. It was very fun. It was very knowledgeable and educational tonight. So make sure to go message these people on Instagram and let them know what they mean to you. Talk to you later. Have a good one.